Namaste, Namaskaram. A very, very good evening to all students. Hope all of you are doing good. I welcome you all to the day 1 of the Predictive Astrology course, month 5. Now, this month, the topic that we are going to cover, again, when I say topic, we are not talking about topic in the form of, just giving you rules after rules. No. Here, each and every topic that is taken for a month is precisely used for real-time predictions, right? How do I make real-time predictions one point after the other? That's the whole concept of our study here, right? So till now, we covered the Rashi Karakatwas, the Bhava, the Graha Karakatwas, right? Then we also covered GOCHARA RAHU, which is a very integral tool in assessing why this person has come to me for a consultation, right? Then last month we had the first bhava, right? So before moving to the second bhava, we have to cover Tithi Soonya because it's very, very, very important to understand Tithi Soonya, BADHAKA, NEECH, VAKRA, ASTA, and you also need to understand about MAANDI, right? Because as we proceed to the next sessions, that is month 6, month 7, month 8, right? You should have a fine understanding of all of this because they have a very, very integral role in going about and giving you a completely different viewpoint, especially when you go about and analyze a horoscope, right? Which means when you're studying a horoscope, all of this is important, which means the topic for study this month is not just Tithi Soonya. We're going to cover Badhakas, how to apply the Badhakas, how to apply NEECH, how to apply VAKRA, how to apply ASTA, how to apply MAANDI, right? And then I'm going to take you to month 6, right? See, here, why do we need to understand all of this? See, when you're predicting, what would happen? Sometimes you would say, or many a times you would say that, what? This bhava is bala. Bala means what? It is strong, right? But if you ask the other person would be telling that, what? None of the things that you're predicting pertaining to this bhava has fructified in my life, right? You would say the 7th bhava is bala in one's horoscope, and he would end up telling you that, what? I'm not married. Or you would say the 4th bhava in a person's horoscope is strong, and he would say that, what? Forget about owning a house. Forget about owning a car. I don't even have a bicycle, right? So why does this happen, right? Which means whenever you look into a horoscope, understanding all of this is very important. The 2nd bhava may be bala for somebody, and he would be saying that, what? My pocket is empty. I have no money. So why is it that it is not working out, right? And this happens in every astrologer's journey. Sometimes you predict something, and why does that prediction fail, right? Which automatically means, as all astrologers do, what do? If a bhava is attaining strength, right? If a bhava lord is in a good sthiti, automatically we would go and jump straight and tell you that, what? All this is going to happen positively for you, right? This is basic astrological rule, you don't have to deny that also, right? It's the basic astrological rule, so you cannot blame the astrologer. But this is where the role of Tithi Soonya, or what is also referred to as Dagdha Rashi, right? Badhaka, all of this comes into a play, especially Tithi Soonya and Badhaka. So here it is not just about understanding all of them, right? It's also about taking them or converting them into a real-time prediction. Somebody can tell, there are so many people who tell, this is the Badhaka Lord, this is the Tithi Soonya Rashi. Okay, fine, understood. But how do I apply it? How do I apply it and convert it into a real-time prediction? Can you give me a paper with notes telling that, what? For this person, this will happen in an order. Yes. All students, at least all my students, should be able to do that. And that is what the month 5 is dedicated for. Now, before you actually go about and start writing, I will tell you to write later on. First, listen carefully. See, here you need to understand there is a strange but a very, very integral connection between the Tithi, right, and Chandra, right? Again, there is a very, very strange, mysterious, beautiful connection between Tithi and common sense. What is common sense basically? In common sense, what I imply here, in Tamil we call it as Madi or Madinutpam, right? So there is something called as intelligence. Intelligence is ruled by whom? It is ruled by Buddha or Mercury. But there is also something called as common sense in life. Nothing supersedes common sense in life. So if there is something to do with Madhi, right? You have Vidhi, Madhi, Gathi, right? If there is something to do with Madhi or common sense, right? Madhi itself is also associated, or it's another name of calling Chandra, at least in Tamil. So there is a completely beautiful connection between Madhi and what we call as common sense and Tithi, right? Which means when you offer Tarpanam, right? Or when you offer Tithi Tarpanam, automatically you choose the Tithi of that person. So you need to understand there are certain similar traits which actually go about and proceed from one generation to another generation and come to you. So if you understand Tithi, automatically you would be also able to understand this concept of Mati by inculcating that into your life, and you would also be able to get a good amount of so-called common sense. Of course, throughout each of the sessions, I've been telling you the importance of common sense, in order to go about and avert great dangers. And I've also suggested you some beautiful ways in order to go about and create something to do with this basic elemental common sense within all of us. By what? By Chandra Darshana, right? Which is very, very important. All of you should do that. That would actually go about and give you this tendency to just in the knack of time understand that, yes, there is a problem. I see a problem. I can kind of foresee a problem and I should prepare myself for that, right? But here you also need to understand one important thing. When I'm talking about Tithi and when I'm talking about Chandra, automatically when I'm referring to Chandra, automatically your mind needs to go to Karaka Rashi. See, Sun, right? He gets into a Soonya in many Rashis, right? 2-3 Rashis. Guru, the house of Guru, that is Dhanusha and Meena, he also gets into a Tithi Shoonya 3 times. Mercury also, he gets into a Tithi Shoonya for Panchami Tithi, Ashtami Tithi, Chaturdashi. But when it comes to Moon, it is just one time that he goes into a Soonya. So this itself should actually make you think that, you know what, if I understand this concept of Tithi Shoonya, automatically it can actually go about and give me a different way in order to go about and forecast, foretell a horoscope, right? And here, when we are talking about common sense here, we are just talking about the basic technique, the basic subtlety that you need to understand when it comes to analyzing a horoscope. See, when you see a horoscope, when I see a horoscope, or when anybody sees a horoscope, there are just going to be what? 12 signs. In that 12 signs, there are going to be 9 plus 1 graha, if you actually include MAANDI. So what is the difference between you and a good astrologer or you and a not so good astrologer? Because I want to assume and presume that all my students are the best of astrologers. So what is the biggest differentiating factors that is going to be there between you and the other astrologer is to apply this common sense of Tithi Shoonya, right? And understand where to tell, where to give a little bit of minus, where to give a little bit of break, where to highlight a point. All of this can easily be understood by Tithi Shoonya. Now you can write down the heading, Tithi Shoonya, or for people in the northern part of India, you can also write Dagdha Rashi, right? Before we start the session, right, I will give you a wonderful training, right? Wonderful training. What you can do is, right, just by using the concept of Tithi Soonya, right, you should be able to tell at least 1 point, at least minimum of 1 point. Of course, as I'm going to reveal the bag of magic tricks to you right away, you would be just amazed as to how you can actually predict just using Tithi Soonya. Forget about grahas. Forget about all the grahas. Forget about your lagna. Just using Tithi Soonya alone, for each person, you should be able to go about and predict a few points. At least 1 point minimum. It should be 1 point, should be to the point, right? It should literally dazzle that person. So for that, basic, right? First, you can draw the Rashi Chakra. Please, all of you draw the Rashi Chakra. I will just connect the iPad. All of you draw the Rashi Chakra. Okay, good. We are connected. Right. Now, first, before we go, you need to understand one important concept. See, your Lagna Lord, he can fall in any place, right? And for that, you are actually going to go about and take the prediction. That is one part. But you need to understand one structure would remain the same. And what is that structure? As I always keep repeating, it is the structure of the Kala Purusha, which means 70 to 80% of all the predictions first have to be fulfilled as per the Kala Purusha, because please do understand, that is the framework of the horoscope. See, without the Kala Purusha, there is no astrology itself, right? So you need to understand one important thing. Whatever is there as far as the Kala Purusha is concerned, that automatically needs to be satiated upon, right? So your Lagna Lord can be anything. You know, it can be Dhanusha Lagna, it can be Mithuna Lagna, it can be Meena Lagna, whatever it is. But always keep in mind, whenever you're predicting both for yourself and for anybody for that matter, your Lagna, when it comes to you, yourself as a person, always first take into account Mesha Rashi, right? That is where you ideally need to start. So what I'm going to do is, Mesha, I'm going to put as 1, right? It is you. It is your Lagna. It is not anybody's Lagna. It is your Lagna, whatever your Lagna is, which is in Mesha Rashi, you put as self. That is you. So if Mesha Rashi is yourself, who would be your younger sibling? When I'm referring to younger sibling, I'm referring to both your younger brother, your younger sister. Who would be your younger sibling here? When we are talking about your younger sibling, don't immediately jump to my Lagna, the third from my Lagna. No. First, you have to go to Mithuna. Right? Who's this? This is your younger sibling. Right? This is 1. Right? So please write down younger sibling. You can put in bracket both younger brother and younger sister. You can write that down. Right? See, I want you to absorb and assimilate whatever I'm telling you right now, because you would be able to make some profound predictions. You would be able to kind of, see some really visible things which are invisible for so many astrologers. That is what I'm trying to do here, right? It is not about creating another astrologer just for the sake of creating another astrologer. No, it is about giving you that profound insight which is not there in any other person. That is the way astrology should be, right? So every other astrologer, when we are talking about Lagna, he would be looking at his Lagna. My Lagna is Dhanusha Lagna. My Lagna Lord is in Mithuna. No, that is not the way you should look at it. Whenever somebody is talking about Lagna, whenever you look at a horoscope, immediately, how is the Lagna? First, you should start with Mesha. Then if somebody is asking, how is my younger brother? Tell me something about my younger brother. Don't look at the third from your Lagna. Immediately where your eye should go? Your eye should go to Mithuna. Which means 70% of the work should happen there. Remaining 30% only is going to happen in your horoscope, which means you are just going to do the act of confirmation, which means the chassis, the chassis. What is the chassis? It is the frame, right? It is the frame of the vehicle. That is the Kalapurusha. Now, on top of that chassis, you put whatever you want, right? You can put in a body and call that car Baleno. You can put in the body and call that car Glanza. You can put in that body and call it Audi this 7. You can put in another body and call it, you know what, Skoda something. But what is important here? It is the frame which is important. Only after the chassis comes to you with the engine, then you can send it anywhere that you want. You can send it to Karur, Namakkal, where you have all the people who build bodies for buses, right? There you can do your own design. You can actually go about and do your own painting. But 80% starts here and ends here, right? Next. What happens to mother, mummy, right? Amma. For people in the northern part of India, Mataji. Automatically, you should not go into the fourth from your lagna. You should go to Kataka, right? So the fourth indicates whom? Your mother. So if you want to understand your mother better, don't look at the fourth immediately from your lagna. Immediately look at Kadaka Rashi. That will give you all the things that you want to know about your mother, right? Next is child. Next is your maternal uncle, right? That becomes Simha. So write down. Please write down. This becomes maternal uncle and your child, right? Right. So when it comes to child, who should you look into? Immediately you should look at Simha. Then Kalatra. Kalatra means for a male, the female partner, the wife. For a stree, automatically whom? The husband. You should look at whom? You should look at Tulam, right? So, husband, wife, right? So, this is what. So now you also need to keep this in mind. The fifth bhava becomes my child. So if I have another child now, my second bhava would automatically become Tulam, right? So if somebody is asking you for your second child, or if you want to know about your second child, don't jump to your horoscope in the form of Lagna. First, in your horoscope, check Tulam, right? So Tulam becomes the second child, right? Next. So we have covered Tulam, right? Next, let's go to father. Who would become father? Father means Appa. Appa means Pitaji, right? Father. So if you want to know about your father, if you want to know the state of your father, you should look at Dhanusha. Now, my wife or somebody's husband, seventh bhava, right? So if my wife has a younger sibling, right? Younger sibling, so automatically do a bhavat bhava. Bhavat bhava means you are calculating from the bhava. My wife, 1, 2, 3. So my wife's younger sibling, Dhanush. Right, sir. Right. So if my wife's younger sibling, right, is Dhanusha, what if my wife has a elder sibling, 7th, 11th, right? So my wife's elder sibling will be Simha, right? Next. What about my elder sibling? What about my uncle? My uncle means what? My father's younger brother, not my father's elder brother. If I had to look at my father's elder brother, who would I go to? Again, I would go to Tulam, father's elder brother. If I had to look at my uncle, that is father's younger brother, uncle. If I had an elder brother, or if you have an elder brother, you would go to Kumbha. Right? Okay. So I have a wife. My wife's father, which is my father-in-law. My wife's father, which means what? From the 7th, you start counting 9. From Tulam, you start counting 9. So automatically, my father-in-law would become Mithuna Rashi. Right? So my wife's mother, see, when I'm saying my wife, so for women, automatically, husband, automatically, right? So my wife's mother or my mother-in-law, from 7th, you start counting 4, automatically, mother-in-law, right? Becomes Makara. So this is the structure. This structure won't change. So the first job that you need to do is not jump into the horoscope and start with Lagna Lord here, Lagna Lord there. What is the question this person is having? So as per the question, automatically first check the Kala Purusha Kundali. It's as simple as that. Right? If somebody is asking about self, Mesha. If somebody is asking about child, Simha. Somebody is asking about wife, Tula. Which means with this framework itself, you can beautifully predict for the entire family even without that person uttering a word, opening his mouth. Why today, all of you will be able to predict without even using the Lagna, without even using the Grahas. That is the beauty, right? That is the beauty of one small tool that you get. You would be able to go about and highlight points after points, right? So, number 1, Mesha, that is you, the self. Number 3, it is your younger sibling, it is your father-in-law. Number 4, it is your mother, which is Kadaka, is your mother. Mithuna, younger sibling, father-in-law. Simha becomes your child, becomes your maternal uncle, your Kalatra's elder sibling. Tulam becomes your wife. Tulam, if your father has an elder sibling, it becomes the father's elder sibling. Dhanusha becomes your father. Dhanusha becomes the Kalatra's younger sibling. Makara becomes your mother-in-law. Kumbha is your elder sibling, both boy or girl, and your uncle, which is your father's younger sibling, right? This should be a standard. You should not change the standard wherever you go, whatever you go, right? Even in your sleep, you should remember that. Tomorrow, if 10, 15 astrologers join together and again confuse you, still you should not do that, right? You should not change. This is the structure. This structure should not change while you delve into the horoscope, right? Irrespective of whichever lagna you have, irrespective of what your 4th bhava is, what your 7th bhava is, what your 9th bhava is, that does not matter. This is the structure, right? So this is something that you should not change. So the moment I tell you Mithuna, or the moment I tell you younger sibling, immediately your mind should strike Mithuna Rashi. The moment I utter the word father, your mind should go nowhere. It should go to Dhanusha Rashi. The moment I say elder sibling, uncle, immediately your mind should go to Kumbha Rashi, right? So if your elder sibling is Kumbha Rashi, if somebody asks a question about your elder sibling's child, where should your mind go towards? It should first go towards Mithuna Rashi, right? Because from the 11th, from Kumbha, who's the 5th? It is Mithuna Rashi, right? Again, the moment I say younger sibling, Mithuna Rashi. The moment I say, or the moment somebody asks you, my younger sister, my younger brother, he needs to get married. How is his married life? Immediately the 7th from Mithuna, you need to look at Dhanusha Rashi. So this is a very, very, very important integral rule. And only if you understand the structure, because this is the main point here. Only if you understand the structure, you would be able to go about and predict to the dot. predict precisely. So let's say somebody asks you, my younger sibling's child. So automatically you need to look at Tulam, right? So immediately to the point, you should be able to remember this, right? So mother's Putrasthanam, where should you look at? You should look at Vrishchaka, right? Father, Dhanusha, Kalatra, Tulam, right? Her father, his father, automatically you should look at what? You should look at Mithuna. This is one important point, right? Which means this should come to you like a shot. This should come to you promptly as possible, instantaneously as possible, and you should not flicker. Right? The question here will be, sir, you're talking about Kala Purusha, but in my horoscope, all of this is different. Forget it. Which means, first, you keep in mind 70% of your predictions will be supported by Kala Purusha. So the first instance, you forget your horoscope. 70% of your horoscope means not, I'm talking about not your horoscope per se, as per the Lagna. 70% of it will be supported by the Kala Purusha. Then I'm not telling you don't look at the Lagna. You have to look at the Lagna, right? Because everybody's life is different. But the key to everything will start with the Kala Purusha. The lock will also be opened by the Kala Purusha. Slowly, what is here? What is this side? What is that side? Which side of the house is the sitting room? Which side of the house is the dining room? All of this will only come as far as your basic birth chart is there, right? Which means without touching the Kala Purusha, you should not proceed to that next step, right? This is the Sukshama. This is the secret, right? This is the main Sukshama that we are again and again trying to address. Once you understand this, and once you actually go about and connect it with Tithi Shoonyam, you will be able to Tithi Soonya Dagdha Rashi. You will be able to amaze, astonish, astound everybody around you, right? Which means the moment somebody tells you, this is my birth Tithi, you should be able to tell 10 points. At least 1 point should be like, you know what? It should be pointed like an arrow. That is the concept here. And for that only, I'm giving you this little bit of training, right? Once you understand this, and once we actually apparently move on, right, then you would be able to go about and create a pure form of a magic, right? After that, I would teach you about the Lagna also. As per the Lagna, Tithi Shoonya, all of that will also come. But just by looking here itself, right, as per the Kala Purusha here, automatically you should be able to go about and give 4, 5, 7 points. Let's say somebody who has a Simha Lagna comes to you, right? Let's say he has a question about his father-in-law. So immediately you should not go to, you know what? You should not, the first thing that you should do is what? First you should check Mithuna. Why? Because for Kala Purusha, that indicates the father-in-law. That is natural. That won't change. Then after that, Simha Lagna. From Lagna, third Bhava Tulam. Check that. So this should be the order in which you actually go about and check. It's like, you know what? You enter into a city. Let's say you want to enter into Chennai. First, you need to start with the outskirts, which is you need to start with Tambaram. Then you need to go into Chennai. You cannot straight away go to Chennai, right? So first, you need to start from the peripheral aspects and then get into the center zone, which means what? It should be a uniformed process. The act of making predictions should be a uniformed process. Now, write down the heading again, Tithi Shoonya. How many Tithis? Write down 30 Tithis. For the waxing cycle, or which is also called as the Shukla Paksha, 15. For the waning cycle, or what is also called as the Krishna Paksha, right? In Tamil, for those who are Tamil students listening, Teibirai, Valarbirai, right? So for Krishna Paksha, again, 15. This is standard. There is no change in that. Now, write down, for each Tithi, there are certain Rashis which get into Soonya. Shoonya means 0. Dagdha means burnt, right? Now, for the Amavasya Tithi, write down, And for the Paurnami Tithi, there is no Tithi Shoonya Rashi. Right? Which means for those who are born during the Amavasya Tithi, for those who are born during the Paurnami Tithi or Purnima Tithi, the concept of Tithi Shoonya is not there. That itself is a hidden sukshama. Just contemplate on it. Tithi is closely connected with the Pitruloka. So, if you look into the lives of those who go through the Amavasya Tithi, or those who are born during the Amavasya Tithi or the Purnima Tithi, then it automatically means what? There is no Tithi Shunya, which means what? There is a lot of possibility that they will complete all that they need to complete in this lifetime. Possibility is there. Right? Now, when you can write down, when the grahas that are supposed to give yogas, right, as per what? As per the graha, as per the bhavadipati, right, when they are getting into Tithi Shunya Rashi, or when they are in Tithi Shunya Rashi, right, then what happens is the yogas that they are supposed to give, it delays those yogas, or they restrain. Restrain means what? Literally delay or stop those yogas. Right? I'm again repeating. When the grahas that are supposed to give yogas as per your horoscope are placed in Tithi Shunya Rashi, they delay the yogas or they restrain the yogas. Right? Next rule. When Tithi Shunyadipati, you write down. Once we get into the example horoscope, I will definitely explain to you. When the Tithi Shunyadipati, which is the Tithi Shunya Lord, right, when they are not in their houses, right, then the impact is less. It does not mean there is no impact. There is impact, but the impact is less. It is not too much. Please pay attention. Please pay attention to the points. Please write down the points. There is no hurry. If you don't even understand a point, please interrupt me, right? When I give you the time to interrupt. And any which ways, you have all the time to message me and ask me doubts, right? So, when a graha is a Tithi Shunyadipati, when a graha is in that house again, then there would be delays, there would be setbacks, right? Next, these are the Sukshama rules associated with Tithi Shunya. How do I understand this concept well? See, there is an area. In that area, there is a rowdy, right? There is a rowdy. So if the rowdy is in that area, he is the area rowdy, he will have control over that area, right? But if you take that rowdy, let's say there is a rowdy in Chennai, right? He's an area rowdy for that area, right? In one particular area. Now, let's say we take him and we put him somewhere. We put him somewhere in Delhi, or we put him somewhere in Mumbai. It is not that this rowdy becomes a good person. But what would happen is, now he will be a little careful, right? Because, he can actually not perform all his antics that he used to perform in Madras or Chennai in Bombay. That guna will be there. But at the same time, the ability to perform his actions, right, the bad actions, won't be as much as he's able to do in his own land. This is the way you should ideally go about and understand the rule, right? Which means, what would he tell? He would tell, come to my area. That time I will take care of you. That is the only thing. Which means, this is where you understand the logic. When grahas are in Tithi Shunya Rashi, then what happens? It creates a delay. It creates a restraint. When the Tithi Shunyadipati is not in its Rashi, right? Let's say Simha getting into Tithi Shunya. So when Sun or Simha is in Simha Rashi, then it is a problem. When there are grahas in Simha Rashi, then it is a problem. But let's say the Simha Rashi Lord Sun is not in Simha Rashi, but it is somewhere else. That somewhere else place will have a problem, but it won't have that much of a problem compared to that Tithi Soonya Rashi, which is Simha itself. This is the logic, right? Tithi Soonya Lords, next rule. Tithi Soonya Lords, right? After middle age. Now, what do we call as middle age? Ideally, you can put it as 50 years above. After 50 years above, their impacts are less. Where they would impact is, they would impact on the specified organs, right? Which means what? For each graha, we have the body parts, right? Sun, automatically you would go to the heart, you would go to the head, right? So automatically, so after 50 years, that delay, that setback, that restraint owing to the Tithi Shunya won't be there. But what it would do is, it would slightly meddle around with your health pertaining to that body part associated with the Tithi Shunya Rashi, right? Which means, after that middle age, it won't go about and block the yogas, right? In fact, it would actually go about and allow the yogas to function, but it will create problems associated with that body part. Let's get into one small example. Let's say somebody wants to get married. Somebody is having a delayed marriage, late marriage. So marriage has happened, right? This is the work of Tithi Shunya. So after 50 years, what will happen is, he will go for a job, he will build a house, he will have all of that. But somehow, since the seventh bhava, let's say the seventh bhava is afflicted owing to it being in the Tithi Shunya Rashi, then now what will happen is, he will have problems, urinary problems. He will have problems associated with the jiva associated with that seventh bhava. The seventh bhava indicates the relationship that you need to have. So something to do with the relationship would be affected. This is the point. Which means, after that middle age, right, the organs and the relationship associated with the graha or the bhava will be afflicted. Graha, bhava, this confusion, don't worry. We are anyways going to cover it, right? So, in the young age, what does it do? It won't give, right? It will actually go about and delay. And even if it gives, it will give problem. Then, after that, it will actually go about and work in the way I told you. This is the concept of Tithi Shunya. Now, what could be the doubts that you could probably have? See, let's say, now the question can be, Tithi Shunya Adhipati. Whichever place he is it going to spoil? As it is, I already told you the problem. I told you, the problem will be there, but it will be less as long as it is not in its own Rashi. The other question is, Tithi Shunya, does it only work during its specified Dasha, Bhukti, Antara? No, there is nothing like that. It will work throughout your life, because irrespective of the Dasha you have, there is a Bhukti, there is a Antara, there is a Sukshama Kala, right? So automatically, Tithi Shunya does not require the permission of a Dasha Bhukti, right? He will work everywhere, right? Just a minute. Let me just fill some water and come. Okay. What I would request all of you to do is draw Rashi Chakra. Please draw. After you draw, right, draw a sample Rashi chart, right? Sample horoscope. After you draw, I will draw it after you. Where is the pen? Okay. Please draw the Rashi. Put the Lagna as Rishabha Lagna, right? And put Guru in Meena Rashi, right? Guru in Meena Rashi. Rishabha Lagna, I'm putting Guru in Meena Rashi, right? Now let's say the Tithi Shoonya is Guru, right? Or Dhanusha is getting into Tithi Shoonya, right? Let's say Dhanusha Rashi is getting into Tithi Shoonya. So the Tithi Shoonya is Guru, right? So now, if there is any other graha in the Ashtama Bhava, which means what? Let me number this for you. Right? Let's say the Tithi Shoonya Rashi is Dhanusha, ruled by Guru. Right? So now, if there is any graha in the Ashtama Bhava in Dhanusha Rashi, then the problem is big. Then the delay is big. Then it is stubborn. But now, let's say we are ideally talking about this person is born during the Saptami Tithi. Right? I'll give you the order also. I will give you the Tithi Shoonya for each. That is, I will give you, don't worry, but Saptami Tithi. For Saptami Tithi, it is Dhanusha and Karaka. Right? So here in Dhanusha Rashi, there is no Graha. So automatically what? The impact is there. The impact where? The impact on the 11th Bhava is there. But it is less. It is not too much. But let's say the same person is born during the Ekadashi Tithi. So for Ekadashi Tithi, the Tithi Shunya is Dhanusha and Meena. Right? So now the problems associated with what? Both becomes the Tithi Shunya. So as per the rule, what happens? The Tithi Shunya Lord is in its own sign. So this is a major drawback. Right? In the later case, when the person was born during Shaptami Tithi, there is a problem associated with the 11th Bhava. There is a problem associated with the Ashtama Bhava, but it is to a certain extent. Now, if the person is born during the Ekadashi Tithi, where the Tithi Shunya Lord itself is in the Tithi Shunya Rashi, then the delay, the setback is problematic, right? This is one important thing. The question can also be, let's say there are two Tithi Shunya Lords and they are in the, not in the Rashi, they are in some other Rashi. So will the impact be major? No. Again, you need to apply the same rule. Let's say, for example, let's discuss another horoscope. You can draw the Rashi Chakra if you want to. It's just for your understanding, right? Let's say somebody has a Mithuna Lagna, right? And let's say, this person has a Tithi Shunya associated. He is born during the Trayodashi Tithi, right? Which is Shukra and Sun, right? So Shukra and Sun born during the Trayodashi Tithi. But this Shukra and Sun is in Meena Rashi. So is the impact to the Meena Rashi there? It is there, but only to a certain extent, to a small extent. Where the impact would be more? Trayodashi Rishabha, Trayodashi Simha. So if there is a Graha here, this is where the impact would be, right? Again, just for your understanding now, this is purely because I'm doing it for the benefit of people in the northern part of India, right? So here, when we are referring to the Tithi Shunya here, we are ideally talking about the 9th Bhava and the 12th Bhava involved, right? So what would be the problems associated with this person? The problem associated with the father, Bhagya, right? The problems associated with feet, foot to be precise, right? Foreign travel, all of this will be a problem. Will it be a major problem? No, it is not here. It is not here. But nonetheless, the problem would be there, right? This is automatically the way you ideally need to analyze the horoscope. Now, let's say we are also talking about what? We are also talking about, let's discuss one more horoscope. Same concept here. The only thing that you need to add is, let's put in Mars also here. Automatically, what do we see here? Same Trayodashi Tithi, same Rishabha Rashi, Simha Rashi, Shukra, Sun. Same problems will be there. After a certain age, what would the problems be? Which is after 50 years. After 50 years, the problems would subside, but he would have problems associated with what? Eyes. Associated with urine problem. Remember the 7th, right? Associated with sugar, right? These are all real-time horoscope, which means generically, when it is not in its own house, when it is in another house, automatically the impact is less. Let's go step by step, right? Here, the other question will be, now you're talking about organs in the body after a certain age. So should I take the organs as per the Kala Purusha or as per my Lagna? You should use both. You should mingle both. How do I mingle both, sir? Won't it be confusing? No. The whole purpose of making you understand the concept of Kala Purusha is not to make it confusing. It is to make it easier. Let us say somebody in the young age, he's having a problem associated with sun. So automatically, let's say somebody has a problem with stomach. Then as he grows older, he will have a problem associated with what? Back, then head. Right? Or let's say somebody in a young age, automatically he has some problem with the head. Then you should automatically be able to understand the later stages, he will have problems pertaining to what? Pertaining to the stomach. So what will happen is the Kala Purusha will give you an indication of the Lagna Bhava, and your Lagna will give you an indication of the 5th Bhava, which means both the Kala Purusha and the Lagna will function. Right? This is how it will automatically operate. Right? Next rule. The Bhava which gets into a Tithi Shoonya, first write the rules, then automatically I will explain that to you with example horoscopes. Don't worry. The Bhava, right, that gets into a Tithi Shoonyam, whichever Adibhatyam or whichever it signifies as a Bhava, that actually goes about and flourishes in the form of knowledge. Which means I'm not even talking about the Lagna here. I'm just talking about what? I'm just talking about the Kala Purusha. Which means when it comes to the relationship, when it comes to the Jiva associated with Bhava, that creates a problem. That creates an adripti or a disappointment. Right? Which means what? Either you're disappointed with the person or you're separated with the person. But the knowledge aspect of it, when you say knowledge, you should also add something to do with, something to do with the monetary aspect of it, because it is understood if there is knowledge, there is also going to be money. Will automatically go about and be good after a certain point in time. This is one important thing that you need to understand, right? Which means, let's say Kadaka Rashi is getting into a Tithi Shoonya. So who would it impact? I'm talking about Kala Purusha. Don't ever get into your horoscope as of now, because horoscope wise, Lagna Lord, 2nd Bhava Lord, I would be taking you through. But first you understand this concept and predict without using grahas, without using Lagna. You will be stunned. You will be stunned as to how you can stun other people. Then next week we are anyways going to cover as far as your Lagna, 2nd Bhava, 3rd Bhava is concerned. Which automatically means what? There would be adripti, there would be disappointment, there would be problems associated with the mother and mother's side. Right? Either the relationship won't be there or the mother herself won't be there. Right? But when it comes to, travel, all of that automatically, that will actually go about and give goodness. Which automatically means the Tithi Shoonya Bhavas will go about and create a problem associated with the relationship of that signified bhava. Right. Next. You can write the Prathama Tithi. Right. You can also put in bracket, not bracket, just put a comma and write Dwadashi also. Right. So for the Prathama Tithi, right, for the Dwadashi Tithi, right, which means now onwards you should pay a good amount of attention here, because I'm going to actually go about and teach you in a completely different way, or to help you to think in a very distinct form. So just pay attention, right? And please don't get into some advanced thinking as of now. Just be where I am, because as I take you through the flow, everything will automatically come to you. So just listen carefully, right? So what you can do now is write down Prathama Tithi, right? Comma, you can also write down Dwadashi Tithi, right? Let me just... write down Prathama Tithi, write down Dwadashi Tithi, right? In the horoscope. Draw a horoscope as well, right? Now, we're going to apply this. Straight away, we're going to apply this without Lagna, without Graha, nothing, right? So, what you can do is, you can put an into mark for Tulam, right? And you can put an into mark for Makara. Which means, which are the bhavas here? Don't get into your horoscope. Let's say you're born during the Prathama Tithi, Pratipada, Dwadashi Tithi, right? Waxing or waning, does not matter, right? Automatically, the 7th and the 10th bhava, right? So write down. Now write down. The 7th and the 10th bhava become Shoonya for the native, right? Because this is the self. Remember, I told you this is the self, right? That is why I gave you the training, right? Which automatically means for everybody who's born during the Prathama Tithi, Pratipada Tithi, Dwadashi Tithi, anything to do with what? The 7th bhava, the 10th bhava, the 7th bhava which indicates what? Wife, Kalatra. The 10th bhava which indicates what? Mother-in-law, right? The 7th bhava which indicates what? The 7th bhava which indicates my second child, right? Automatically, all of this will have adripti, which means what? Disappointment, and it will have bitterness. No lagna required, sir. No grahas required, right? Which means now we also need to understand the other point. The wisdom and the knowledge associated with the 7th bhava and the 10th bhava will actually go about and give good results. Which means his mind will be always inclined towards partnership. The 10th indicates karma or job or jivana. Which means he will always be thinking about partnership business. Will he prosper in partnership business? He will have one big failure. After that, he will prosper. That one big failure has to come, right? Which means his mind would be towards what? I should do some joint venture. I should do some partnership business, right? All of this will be there. He will go through a difficulty owing to a partnership, or by registering a business in the wife's name or the husband's name, whichever way you want to put it. It will give him a knowledge after that, after going on a big loss, because knowledge comes through what? Mistake, right? Then he will be able to go about and rectify that mistake, gain knowledge, and he would be able to go about and achieve, right? This will only, this would only be actually prompted into that person, which means you don't have to tell that you should do this. He will only do that, right? This would be his second nature. The 10th bhava, it indicates what? Again, somebody who is dharmic, somebody who is into social work, who likes to do social work. All of this will be there. See, I'm not using the lagna here. I'm not using any grahas. You're just taking the horoscope, you're finding out which Tithi he is born in, you're giving predictions after predictions. Isn't it stunning? You just try it out and you tell me the results. You update me with the results. You will also be stunned. The people who you predict for will also be amazed at the way you make predictions. Which means for this person, the focus will be directed towards just the 7th bhava and the 10th bhava. This is where you need to understand the karakatwas properly. So 7th bhava karakatva, remember I taught you. So for students who have already learned, good. Otherwise, the more and more you keep revising that, automatically you would be able to apply these concepts. The 10th bhava karakatva, automatically that will work out for him. But then the organs associated with the 7th bhava, the organs associated with the 10th bhava, which means joints, the 7th urinary problem, all of this is something that he needs to be careful about. Done? Now, we are not done yet. We are just going to continue even further, right? Now, what I want you to do is, I want you to circle Mithuna, right? So, for a person who's born during the Pratipada Tithi or the Prathama Tithi, both of them mean the same, right? The Dwadashi Tithi, right? Mithuna, which means what? Younger sibling. Remember I told you younger sibling? So for the younger sibling, how is it? You should be able to predict for the younger sibling also. For the younger sibling, what would it be? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right? Tulam would become the 5th. Am I correct? Right? And what would become Makara? Makara would become the 8th. So for the, write down. These are points that you need to write down. For the younger sibling, see, you're just going to predict using the points that I'm telling. Right? So for the younger sibling, it becomes the 5th and the 8th. So what happens now? The 5th bhava indicates the putra. Whose putra? My younger brother's putra. The 8th bhava indicates what? Problems, which automatically means what? This thing called as the 5th bhava and 8th bhava will be a problem in his life. So what do we mean by the 5th bhava and 8th bhava? Child, promotion, ancestry. All of this will be a problem. Litigation, accident, putra dosha. I'm combining the 5th and the 8th bhava. Now you have to combine and tell. 5, 8. Putra dosha. Delay in promotion. Delay 8th bhava. Promotion 5th bhava. So you should combine both of this and tell. Right? So you should tell the 5th. You should tell the 8th. You should combine and tell both. Or you just copy paste what I'm telling. It will automatically come ditto. So for those who are born during the Prathami Tithi, if at all anybody in this group now, or those who are listening, those who are born, you can confirm all this with me. Immediately you can ask, how is your younger sibling? You will get one answer, right? Again, younger sibling, the younger sibling's higher education, the younger sibling will have a love interest, love problem. Why? Because the 5th and the 8th, right? Next, I want you to circle what? I want you to circle I'll keep it like this itself so that you can. Next, what you can do is, I want you to circle Kadaka Rashi. You can circle Kadaka Rashi here, right? So for Kadaka Rashi, can anybody tell me, anybody who's listening, can anybody tell me what becomes the Tithi Shoonya for Kadaka Rashi?
Can somebody have a problem?
No, yeah, you tell me the bhavas. You tell me the bhavas. For Kadaka Rashi, which bhavas are the Tithi Shoonya bhavas? For Kadaka Rashi, start. Aya?
Tula is fourth.
Very good, very good. Next, Aya?
7th.
Very good, very good, very good, very good. Wonderful. So you have the 4th and 7th. See, it is not about mother having a problem. Mother having what problem? Mother's mother will have a problem. Your fourth bhava, Kadaka Rashi. Fourth is what? Mother's mother will have a problem. Fourth is what? Mother's arogya will be a problem. Right? Sir, we are not using lagna. We have not put grahas. You are straight away predicting. Right? This is how it is. Next. So, mother's health will be a problem. Mother's mother will have some problem. Right? Which means just knowing the tithi of the person, forget about this person. We are going to predict for the entire family now. Right? And I don't want you to keep quiet. I want you to use all this. Please use all this and update. Right? So, next is the 7th, which means the mother's marriage will be a problem. The mother's married life will be a problem. Many people, those are born during the Prathama Tithi or the Pratipada Tithi, you will see in the mother's side, there would be a lot of women who go as, you know what? They get married as a second wife, second marriage. That happens frequently, right? This is one part. But use this type of things judiciously. You don't create an embarrassment for yourself. You don't create an embarrassment for me. Tell in your mother's side, in your mother's family, are there second marriages? Are there more than one marriage? Automatically the answer will come, right? Next, let's put for Simha. Let's put for Simha Rashi. So let's circle Simha here. So for Simha, what would be the bhavas? Please, all of you. Anybody? For Simha Rashi? For Simha Rashi, it would be the 3rd and 6th. Am I correct? 3rd and 6th. So when I'm referring to Simha Rashi here, who am I referring to? I'm referring to my maternal uncle. I'm referring to my maternal uncle if I was born during the Pratipada Tithi. Right? If I was born during the Pratipada Tithi or the Dwadashi Tithi. Right? So I'm talking about my child. I'm talking about my maternal uncle, my wife's younger sibling or younger sister. So immediately you should be able to predict the child will have ENT problems, ear, nose problems, ear, nose, throat problem, right? Child, maternal uncle, and what? If your wife, you know how beautiful it is. Just imagine you're getting a horoscope, you're just seeing the tithi, and you're telling your wife's does your wife have a younger sibling? Yes, sir. Does the wife's younger sibling have ENT problem? How will it be? Just imagine the way you are actually going to be making predictions, right? Next. The 3rd bhava also indicates what? Neck. So, who will have neck related problems? The child will have problems associated with the neck. Right? Which means what we are trying to do here is just one tithi. Using this one tithi, we are actually going about and creating predictions for the entire family, right? For the entire family. This is how it is. Next, let's mark Dhanusha Rashi.
Sir, wife's younger sibling or elder sibling?
Sorry, wife's elder sibling. Wife's elder sibling, right? Next is father, right? Dhanusha Rashi, right? So for Dhanusha Rashi, what happens here? What are the bhavas? Anybody? 2nd and 11th. 2nd and 11th. Right? Family. 11th bhava indicates what? Automatically, you should be able to tell. Next. First, you can write down one by one. I would tell you for all of it. Right? Next is for Kumbha, which is the elder sibling. What would it be? 9th, 12th. Right? So here it is elder sibling. Here it is going to be Dhanusha is going to be younger sibling. Right? So for elder sibling, what would it be? For my uncle, what would it be? It would be 9, and 12. So all of them who have a Prathama Tithi, you can check, right? If you have friends who have a Prathama Tithi, in the family you have a Prathama Tithi, start with the child. They would say child has some problems. They have problems associated with the child. Child's health, ENT problems, shoulder-related problems. You ask them pertaining to what? Pertaining to their sibling. Automatically, they would have problems associated with the siblings' children. They will have problems, right? Automatically, if you're ideally referring to here, let's say you have a sibling. So automatically, we are referring to the sibling here. Sibling, in many cases, they will go for love marriage, intercaste marriage, right? First child, there will be a problem. First child, sometimes it may pass away, right? Second child, they will have only one child, like this you will get. Mother's health will be weak, right? Mother's mother, right? Sometimes mother's mother and mother will have problem. They won't be speaking for years together, right? Again, child, Simha, automatically, they will have problems like, some people have fits problems. Some people have problems associated with the shoulder, neck, sorry. Father, starting it will be good. Why? Because here we are talking about what? We are talking about 2nd and 11th. But here we also need to understand it has to spoil the relationship. So in many cases, it spoils the relationship with the father where the father is not within the family itself. Elder sibling, brother or sister, right? In many cases, they will actually have, something to do with going to that next level. That will be a problem for them, right? Going to that next stage, that will automatically be a problem for them. That would be difficult for them. All of this you would see in the case of elder sibling. Which means just using one tithi, you should be able to go about and give solid, proper predictions. Now the question here is, what if the 6th bhava and the 8th bhava get into the Tithi Soonya Rashi? That let's not rush. I will go step by step. What about the 9th and 2nd? Remember I told you about the 9th and 2nd for whom? I spoke about the 9th and 2nd, which automatically means when we are referring to the 9th bhava, it indicates what? It indicates bhagya. When we are talking about the 2nd bhava, it indicates family. So here, in the father's case, let's say here, father's 2nd bhava is involved, 11th bhava is involved. Automatically, you need to understand, father, there would be people who are into the financial sector, somebody who is working in the bank, but nonetheless, they would have problems with the family, within the family. They would be separated from the mother. Or if they are with the mother, they would keep fighting with the mother. Why? Because the bhagya for having the family life in the form of a relationship will be afflicted. Now, if you closely look at it, for the mother also, the 7th automatically becomes afflicted. So for mother herself, the family life in the form of what? Relationship is not good. What will happen is the father will do something to do with the finance and he will earn all the money. Then he will gain some knowledge and he will redo something to do with business or get money. In their house, there would be people who are in the banking sector, who are in the finance sector, who are in the teaching sector, right? Why? Because 2nd, which is considered as the Vakasthana, which means speaking. 2nd, which is considered as a sthana for finances, right, is there. And the Labhasthana is there. So somebody will be a teacher, somebody will be a banker, somebody will be working in the bank, right? All of this automatically you have to predict. 9, 12, for whom we are ideally referring to whom? We are referring to the elder sibling here. So 9, 12, what does it indicate? If it is a elder sibling who is a girl, who's a lady, the 9th bhava indicates the uterus. So definitely the moment you get a Prathama Tithi and somebody has what? Somebody has an elder sibling who's a girl, who's a lady. A lady, obviously. they will have problems associated with the uterus. The 9th bhava indicates what? Development again. The 12th, Varyam. So there would be one delay, there would be one problem, there would be one setback, major setback, in order to go to that next level. Right? They would grow well, but in the last stages, they will have difficulties. Why? Because the 12th is also involved. Right? The 9th, Bhagya, is getting into a Varya. So Bhagya is getting into a Varya. That is the way you can actually go about and take. Right? You can also tell the 9th bhava, 12th bhava. After the birth of the elder sibling, the father will have to go through a lot of losses. Like this, you can actually go about and do a bhavat bhavam for each of it. Here we are doing a bhavat bhava for Tula, for Makara. Just considering Tula and Makara, just considering the Tithi Shoonya, considering for Tithi Shoonya here is Tula and Makara, automatically you're going about and doing a bhavat bhava and predicting, right? What is there for the younger sibling? What is there for the mother? Right? What and all it would do. This is the sukshama. This is the first step. This is the major step that you should understand. Then after that, you can go to the lagna. Once you have understood this, you would be easily able to connect with the lagna. Don't misunderstand that Kala Purusha will tell something, lagna will tell something else. No, what is here will be confirmed by the lagna. That is the reason I'm telling you to start with the Kala Purusha. Which means if you just catch hold of this, automatically I'd be taking you through the lagna next week. But once you catch hold of this, that will become easy. That will become cakewalk, right? Which means one person, if a person tells one tithi itself, that is more than enough for you to actually go about and predict. Right? So let's say somebody is born during the Pratipada Tithi or the Pratama Tithi, both of them mean the same. Can somebody do a business on the wife's name? The thing here is, one time he will get into a problem associated with that. He will do a business on the wife's name, he will do a business on partnership, and he will go on a major loss. But still he will do that again on that wife's name or again on partnership, and then he will succeed. Which means what? It will give you a difficulty, and after that you will succeed. That is the way it ideally works, right? Which means this is his second nature. This would be his nature. Partnership, business, this would be his only nature. And in this nature, owing to that nature, since it is getting into a Tithi Shoonya, it has to give one failure. After that, it has to give you knowledge, and then only it would go about and give development. If you ask them, what is the subject that you want to learn? They will catch hold of law. I want to learn law. Why 7th Tithi Shoonya? 7th is what? The sign of Tulam is what? It is the weighing scale which indicates justice. Again, who's Bala there? Shukra is Bala there. So they would want to work in a bank. They would want to work in financial institutions. This will be there and this will come. This is as simple as that. But here, the relationship associated, the jiva associated with this bhava, automatically that will be spoiled. See, forget about Tithi Shoonya. When you see a horoscope and if Tula Rashi is spoiled, automatically this person would live like a sannyasi, or it would give 2 marriages, or the family life or the kalatra won't be very, very good. They would have problems associated with kidney, urinary infections, urinary problems, or they will have stones in their kidney. This is one immediate thing that should come to you when Tula Rashi is afflicted. Afflicted means what? Now you need to add this concept of Tithi Shoonya. That's the reason I'm taking you through this concept of Tithi Shoonya. Why? Because the next class onwards, when we go to the second bhava, when I'm saying the second bhava lord is in the labhasthana, some of you would raise your hand and say, sir, what labha? I didn't get any labha. I'm having loan after loan. Then is where you need to apply this. Why it did not work. That is where the Tithi Shoonya will play a pivotal role. Or, I'm not having a good family life. Why is it not happening? Right? that is where the Tithi Shoonya will actually go about and play a very, very integral role. So 7th, what would you take as Tithi Shoonya here? Automatically it would. Let's take the 7th bhava here. Right? So for 7th, what would you take as a Tithi Shoonya? You would automatically take 1 and 4. Right? For the wife, husband. Right? Which means marking here for the husband, wife. So it becomes 1, right? Because Tulam itself is Tithi Shoonya, and 4. Correct? So Pratipada Tithi, whoever they get, immediately you can predict before they get married itself. Whoever becomes your partner, they will have a head-related ailment or problem. Right? They would be separated. Who? Your partner, your husband, your wife. They would be separated, or they would be living away from the father or mother, or father and mother. Or during the marriage, one of them won't be there. Or during their childhood, they would have lived away from home. They would have lived with their grandparents. Why? Because here you need to understand the 7th bhava, that is Tulam. Sorry, the Tulam. Take Tulam. We are not talking about bhava. Tulam. Right? That is your Kalatra. So for your Kalatra, it becomes the Lagna itself. Right? Lagna itself becomes Tithi Shoonya. Lagna means what? Me. The Kalatra herself. The Kalatra himself. Right? And the Kalatra Sugha is also spoiled. So automatically, what is the first bit? When the Lagna is spoiled, it won't allow you to be with your father and mother. This is like basic rule of astrology. When the Lagna is spoiled, it would somehow separate you from your father and mother. Lagna, head. So head-related problems. Right? Your spouse, the house that she is born in, the house that he is born in, that will have some problems or the other. Right? There would be property problems. Pertaining to what? Pertaining to the Kalatra's property. Right? Write down. If Makara Rashi is afflicted in the horoscope, then the first job would lead to loss. First job would lead to Virya. Comma, they won't be able to involve themselves in one karma. Karma means what? An event of death where they need to attend. Right? There would be a miscarriage. Right? There would be a miscarriage. Why? Because Guru gets debilitated there. Again, the father won't have much earnings. Right? Why? Because the 9's second, father's Dhanusha's second becomes Makara. Right? Or father does not have earnings at all. Father does not have enough of earnings. Right? Which automatically means if father is not having earnings, will he be able to support the family? No. If he is not able to support the family, will he be able to support you? No, he won't be able to support you. Which means what? The support from the father won't be there if Makara Rashi is afflicted. Right? This is how it is. Right? Why? Because the 9's second, Dhanusha's second, indicates the father's earnings. Right? Next is for the child. We are again talking about Pratipada Tithi. Till 6 years, right? Till 6 years, there would be medical expenses. Till 6 years, there would be medical expenses. Why is it that I'm telling 6 years? Simha Rashi. From Simha Rashi, the 6th, which is Makara, gets into a Tithi Shoonya. Right? From Simha Rashi, the 6th, which is Makara, you count, gets into a Tithi Shoonya. Right? So automatically, there would be health issues pertaining to the child. Or there is a possibility in order to go about and get into a medical intervention for the purpose of having a child, like IVF. Right? Next. For the younger sibling, right? For the younger sibling, automatically he will go through some dangers. Dangers like what? Accidents. Dangers like what? Litigations, surgery, right? Why? For Mithuna Rashi, which indicates your younger sibling, it is the 8th, right? It is the 8th. So 5, 8. 5 you take, 8 you take. 5, 8 you combine and take. Or you just follow whatever I tell and you take that. That is also sufficient. Again, when you're copy pasting, also make it a point that you also think, because when you think, you will get far, far more points, right? So the concept is something that you should understand, right? Next. So using Tithi, right, you can actually literally stun. You can stun and make some amazing predictions just by knowing the Tithi alone, right? Next, for the Lagna, right, we are ideally talking about what? We are ideally talking about 7 and 10. So automatically 7, 10 involved. So automatically when it comes to documents, they would lose documents, right? Next is for the 11th bhava, right? 9 and 12. 11th bhava means immediately you should go to Kumbha. I'm not talking about any bhava here, right? Here, for Kumbha, it becomes 9 and 12. Always keep in mind when Makara Rashi is afflicted, right, here. And here, if somebody has a elder sibling, then the later stages of the elder sibling's life will be difficult. Will have a certain amount of, poverty. That elder sibling will have leg problems, leg ailments. But the elder sibling will be dharmic. The elder sibling will have 2 jobs, 2 earnings. Why? Because the 12th bhava also indicates the second job, right? 10th vritti sthanam is Meena, which is Makara's vritti sthanam is Meena, right? The elder sibling and the uncle, right? Whoever is there, right? The kalatra or the partner, the compatibility between both of them will be mismatched. Why? Because the 12th bhava of Tambadya gets afflicted, the bhagya of Tambadya. Which means one will be short, one will be tall, one will be dark, one will be fair, right? Or, there would be a change in the caste, right? It would be an intercaste marriage. All this will be there for the elder sibling. Now, before we move to Dvitiya, short 5-minute break. Before we move to Dvitiya, does anybody have any questions? Any questions? You can ask me. Any questions? Aya, both of you understanding the concept, Aya? And later also, whoever is listening, hope all of you understand the concept. Aya, any questions? Are you able to understand the concept? It is very important that you understand the concept. Are you understanding the concept? Yes? Please let me know even the slightest of thing that you're not able to understand. We will go to Dvitiya Tithi. Just give me a 2-minute break. I will just fill some water and come, right? Okay, any questions? We can go to Dvitiya Tithi. Okay, write down Dvitiya Tithi. You can also put it or use it for Ekadashi Tithi, right? What you can do is, you can draw or you can put a multiplication into mark. Dhanusha, Meena. Put into, right? So, for the self, what does it become? For you, if somebody is born during the Dvitiya Tithi, Ekadashi Tithi, don't go to Lagna, don't go to anything. Start with the Shoonya Tithi, which is what we have. What does it become? Can anybody tell me? Right? 9th and 12th. Right? Which means Dhanusha, Meena. Let's start with Dhanusha first. Let's start one by one so that it'll be easier for you. Let's cover Dhanusha. Right?
So it's a Tritiya Tithi or
Dvitiya. Dvitiya.
Sir, that will be Prathama or Dvitiya, that Dwadashi or sorry.
Yeah? Just a minute.
Okay, sir, clear.
Just a minute. I will tell you the order here. You can just write it down. You want to write down the order first? I remember I shared you the order. Dvitiya. Dwitiya. Aya, for Pratipada and Dwadashi Tithi, it is Tulam and Makara. Okay. Aya, is it clear?
Yes, sir, clear.
For Dvitiya and Ekadashi Tithi, it is Dhanusha, it is Meena. Okay, yeah?
Okay, sir.
Aya, but what was your doubt?
Now clear, sir.
Okay. For Tritiya, it is different. Aya. For Tritiya, it is Simha Makara. That I will give you the order one by one, right? So that you don't get confused. Let's go one by one, right? So now, first let's start with Dhanusha, right? First, let's start with Dhanusha, right? Father, right? Then let's start with him, younger sibling. Then let's go step by step. But we will only use let's use Dhanusha first in order to understand, right? So for all those who are born during the Dvitiya Tithi, for all those who are born during the Ekadashi Tithi, take Ekadashi Tithi also into account. The relationship with the father, Shoonya. Why? Because won't be great, right? They would be away or separated from the father. Right? Some people would say, you know what? Some people would say father is there. That means the father's life is not good. The mother may not be there. Right? Next, for this person, higher officials, boss, promotion, going to that next level in life, that will be a little difficult. There would be difficulties, right? Next, if father is there, if somebody says father is there, then father will be alone, right? He would be separated. He would be having a difficult life, which means father himself is not good or father is away. But remember I told you there is a plus associated with the Dhanusha for Tithi Soonya. Government, politics, religion, right? All these thoughts will be there. Shastra, Veda, all these thoughts will be there, and this person will direct all his energy towards it. After difficulties, he will succeed there. So Tithi also indicates, you know what? Remember I told you, what is coming from one generation to another generation. That is why you are told to offer the Tarpanam, right? Which means the ninth bhava, all the phalas of the ninth bhava is a plus in the form of, you know what? In the form of development. After delay, obviously. But when it comes to the jiva, which is the father himself, when it comes to your jiva also in the form of promotion in the beginning stages, automatically it would have problems. This is how it is. Where would your interest be? Government, politics, religion. This is where Shastras, Vedas, whatever you want, get into the Rashi Karakatwas and keep adding. All this would automatically go about and give goodness after a slight setback, a slight delay. Next, let's go to Kadaka Rashi. Let's go to Kadaka Rashi. Now I'm just taking Dhanusha first so that it is easier. Step by step, if we go, it will be easier for all of us. So for mother, it becomes what? For Kadaka. You can just write down here for Kadaka. It becomes 6th, right? Dhanusha becomes the 6th. So again, what? First, immediately don't say Arogya is less. 6th means what? Hard work, labor. The mother would be a hard-working lady, right? But the mother's health will be afflicted. Why? Because the 6th. The mother would have some form of a occupation. She will be in some form of a job, right? Why? Because the 6th. Tithi Shoonya for the mother. Guru, right? Again, one, the mother will have fatty tissues in her body, or the mother will be a fat lady. She will be slightly plump or pleasantly plump lady. All this you are predicting, right? Next, go to the younger sibling. This is the self. Next, go to the younger sibling, Mithuna. So for Mithuna, it is 7, 10. Right? Let's cover 7, which means younger sibling, whether it is a boy or a girl, man or a woman, whether it is a sister or a brother, their married life, right? Their married life won't be very good, won't be very great. Their second child, there would be a problem associated with the child, right? There would be a problem associated with the child. Next, marriage will be a late marriage. Marriage will be a late marriage. Next, problems associated with marriage, falling in love will be there. Late marriage, separation from marriage, all of this would automatically be there, right? Many people who we are talking about the younger sibling here, many people, they would have what? They would have a love marriage, right? Many people would have a love marriage. Right? Now I'm just covering Dhanusha here, right? Nothing beyond it. So automatically when we are talking about Dhanusha, this should come for Tithi Shoonya. Next, let's go to your child, that is Simha. So for Simha, your child is 5 and 8. Now, the moment you see 8 itself, that time only you need to be careful. So we are talking about your child. We are also talking about whom? We are talking about your maternal uncle, right? And if your partner or if your Kalatra has a elder sibling, we are also talking about the elder sibling. So for all of them, right? Automatically we are covering for Dvitiya Tithi, right? Or you can also look at it from this angle. When you're looking into a horoscope, whenever Dhanusha is afflicted, immediately ask this question. Does your maternal uncle have a child? Does your maternal uncle have a putra dosha? Does your maternal uncle go through a miscarriage? All of that will automatically be a tick mark, right? You can also tell for the grandfather, one of the grandfathers from the paternal side, they won't be having a child, or they won't be married, they will be unmarried, or they won't have a issue, they won't have a child itself, right? So automatically, when we are talking about child, when we are talking about maternal uncle, when we are referring to wife's elder sibling, promotion, going to that next stage, it will be difficult, right? But you know what they would be? They would be a manager in some company. Why? Because the 5th bhava, right? Next, medicinal, they would have good knowledge about medicines, right? But when it comes to the life, jiva, then it will automatically be afflicted. Next, let's move for Tulam. I just hope you're writing all of this. Please write down all of this. For Tulam, it becomes 3, 6. For Tulam, it becomes 3, 6. Now we are only checking Dhanusha, so let's put 3, right? The Kalatra does not have a younger sibling, right? Won't have a younger sibling. If he or she has a younger sibling, the Ku Kalatra, then that person will be having problems or the relationship won't be smooth. Right. Next, let's go to Dhanusha. Right? For Dhanusha, that is your father, it becomes 1 and it becomes the Lagna itself, right? Which means for the father, there would be head-related ailments. They would separate and live away from their father and mother. Their married life won't be good, won't be great. Which means the married life won't be good. Why am I immediately talking about a married life here? See, the moment we are talking about the Lagna being afflicted, automatically, you know what? Married life won't be great. You will be separated from your father and mother. Why this married life here? See, when there is an impact on one bhava, there is also an immediate impact on the opposite bhava. It is like this. Today I'm happy. Who will I share this happiness with? I will share my happiness with my wife, right? Today, if I made a solid, superb prediction, who will I share my happiness with? I will share my happiness. I will share my pride, all of this with my wife, right? Today, if I'm going through a very difficult time or a difficult situation, or if I've not been able to do to my best, then who will I share my difficulties with? And at times, get angry upon. I would get angry upon what? My partner. Why? Because direct opposite to me, she's there. So when the Lagna Bhava is afflicted, automatically the 7th Bhava would take a hit. When the 4th Bhava is afflicted, automatically the 10th Bhava would take the hit because it is the direct opposite. Right? So this is how it is. This is also one of the Sukshama, which means what? I get angry, I automatically would show it to my wife. I am happy, I will show that happiness also with my wife. This is a general rule. You should always remember that. If Lagna is afflicted, then married life is not good. Either love marriage, separated from the wife. If the 4th bhava is afflicted, then what? The mother's married life is not good. Right? Automatically, you should get into that also, thinking. Right? If Mithuna Rashi is afflicted, then you should always come into a conclusion that, whose life is not good, whose married life is not good. Father's married life is not good. Right? Keep in mind, see, Lagna, immediately when it comes to Lagna, Mesha. In Mesha, sun gets exalted. So when Mesha Rashi is not good in the horoscope, then immediately think what will happen if sun gets debilitated? What will happen if Mars is losing its strength there? 2 grahas which control Mesha Rashi, if they lose the strength, which is the graha which attains Neecha in the Lagna? Shani. So you know what it would do? It would go about and give its qualities in the form of that Neecha Graha, not even the Ucha Graha, right? Why? Because Shani is debilitated here. So what is Shani? Shani is adoption. Shani is living away from everybody. Shani is being separated from everybody. Shani is being alone. So these qualities will be exhibited. So when the Lagna is not strong, immediately it should come to your mind, Sun and Mars are losing their strength. When Sun and Mars are losing their strength, you will be dependent on the other person. You won't be with your father and mother. Why are we including mother also? See, father, mother, one compartment. Housing, vehicle, housing, one compartment. Like this we put. Right? So both of them come as a package. That is how it is. Right? This is the sukshama of astrology. Right? The reason people don't tell you the simple sukshama is the moment they say Lagna is afflicted, married life is not good. That's all. Full stop. Now, if somebody had to explain to you this concept, go imagine Lagna afflicted means sun afflicted. If sun is afflicted means what? Shani. The Neecha gunas of Shani will come. Then you will also get confused. You will confuse that astrologer also. You would start cross-questioning that astrologer. He would lose his energy and strength. So that's a reason. Standard rule. Lagna afflicted, married life not good. Dissatisfaction pertaining to marriage. Love marriage. This is how it will operate in the person's life. Right. they would be separated from the father and mother. One word they would complete and go, right? If you ask them the logic, they won't either. They would know the logic and they would not explain to you because of this reason, right? Next. So if Lagna is getting into a Tithi Shoonya, tell this, right? If two Pava Grahas or Ashubha Grahas are getting into the Lagna, tell this. If two Ashubha Grahas are aspecting the Lagna, tell this. Now here, Dhanusha getting into a Tithi Shoonya, 1-4. Automatically, father would have head-related ailments. His married life won't be good. Right? Again, possibility of a father to proceed with a love marriage. Right? This is the way it would be. Right? Next. Again and again, I'm repeating. You may think, sir, you are telling everything as per the Kala Purusha, but my Lagna is different. That is secondary. We will get into that. First, you should finish this. First, you should understand this. Right? First, you should apply this. Then only, go to the Lagna. Which means whatever Lagna it is, immediately when it comes to Lagna, immediately your mind should strike Lagna. That means Kala Purusha's Mesha. Who gets exalted there? Sun. Who is in its own sign there? Mars. Who gets debilitated there? Shani. This is what should come to your mind, which means without Kala Purusha, there is no astrology. Astrology itself starts and ends with Kala Purusha. After you start and end with the Kala Purusha, then you should go to the horoscope. Again, I'm telling you, follow the process that I'm telling, right? Write down the rules that I'm telling. Predict using the rules that I'm telling, because the problem may be, first you should apply, you should check the result. Then once you check the result, slowly you can start analyzing. Slowly you would think, okay, this rule, I will add this more rule. Where would you add this rule from? From the Rashi Karakatwa, from the Graha Karakatwas. Keep revising that, you will be able to go about and get one by one, right? So we are focusing here on the Dhanusha. So automatically Dhanusha, father's Lagna. Lagna indicates head. Automatically, you know what? Something to do with head related problem will be there, right? Again, so we have told for the younger sibling, mother, child, partner or wife, husband, and we have also covered for father. Now let's move for elder sibling. Let's move to elder sibling, right? Here Dhanusha becomes the 11th, right? The 11th indicates your desire, just like how the 5th bhava indicates your desire. The 11th bhava also indicates desire. So the desire, the labha, the success of whom? Of the elder sibling. Of whom? The uncle. All of that would be delayed. Right? They would be delayed. Now, if Meena Rashi gets into the Tithi Shoonya, now we are getting into Meena Rashi here. Now we are getting into Meena Rashi. So, for you, where is it? For you, it is the 12th. For you, it is the 12th. Right? So, the 12th indicates what? It indicates Tambadya. It indicates what? Tambadya. What is also called as Ayana, Sayana, Boha. Ayana, Sayana, Boha means sleep. The pleasures of bed, obviously with your legitimate partner. Right? Boha. Right? Pleasures of bed, sleep. So automatically, if this is afflicted, then the compatibility between you and your wife will be less. We are talking about you first, right? Sleep will be less. There would be delay in speech, right? Because 12th, automatically it indicates what? Varaya. Or there would be a delay in walking. Why? Because the 12th indicates the foot. Right. Next, they would live out of town, out of the city, right? Or travel-related work. They will have leg problems, leg ailments, right? Joint problems, joint ailments, knee, joints, knee joints, feet, foot, all of that will be a problem. Now move to Mithuna. For Mithuna, it is the 10th. So for Mithuna, 10th, the Karmasthana afflicted, which means what? Job, male progeny, Karmasthana, which means what? Do I have a child? Does my younger brother have a child in order to perform the last rites? That will be missing. The relationship between the mother-in-law, who younger sibling's mother-in-law, that won't be good. Next, move to Kadaka Rashi. For Kadaka Rashi, what happens? We are talking about the 9th, which is the Garbhasthana, which becomes Meena, which automatically means what? 1. The mother will have problems associated with the Garbhasthana or uterus. Mother's later life, the 12th indicates the last later stages of life will be difficult. Right? For Simha, which is your child, it becomes the 8th. Right? For Simha, which also indicates your maternal uncle, it becomes the 8th. For Simha, which indicates your Kalatra's elder sibling also, it becomes the 8th. In this side, one of them, they would have died early. Right? One of them, they would have died early. Child, grandfather, maternal uncle, wife's elder sibling. One of them, they could have died in a young age. Right? Some people would be lost. You find, people who suddenly go missing, this category. Or they will have surgery or litigation. Right? Now, for Tulam, it becomes, Meenam becomes 6th, the Tithi Shoonya. The Arogya of the Kalatra will be less. She will have problems pertaining to Udyoha, right? Or she will have loans, or she will have ailments. For Dhanusha, which is the father, Meena, becomes, now remember, we are covering the Dvitiya Tithi, right? You can also add the Ekadashi Tithi along. Why? Because Dhanusha and Meena become Tithi Shoonya for Dvitiya and Ekadashi, right? For father, we covered Dhanusha, Lagna. Now Meena, the 4th. Father's health will be affected. Father's property, you won't be able to enjoy. The 9th becomes the father. Right? The 9th, 4th, Meena becomes the father's property. Right? Automatically, the father's property, you won't be able to enjoy. Father, if his father has a property, automatically he also won't be able to enjoy. There would be difficulties. Next, Kumbha, elder sibling, it becomes the 2nd. Right? Elder sibling, uncle, their earnings, right, and their family life, especially family life, right, and their habits, right, there would be problems. Right? The family life, they won't be satisfied. Next, eyes is also associated with the 2nd bhava. They will have problems associated with the eyes. Who? Elder sibling. Anyone who has a Dvitiya Tithi, you can confirm all these points. Even if you have an Ekadashi Tithi, apply. For the horoscope, which gets into a Tithi Shoonya, the 9th and the 12th gets into a Tithi Shoonya. The 9th and the 12th. Which means what? Going to a foreign land, going away from one's hometown, right? How all of this will be. Which means their only purpose in life, their desire will be, I should travel somewhere far off. I should go somewhere away. Why? Because 9th and the 12th bhava involved. But the foreign land that they want, they select, that won't come to them. Some other country will come to them, right? Getting a PR, that difficulty will be there, right? Which means I wanted to go to America, I'm getting Canada. I wanted to go to Australia, I'm getting New Zealand. This type of problem will be there, right? I wanted to go to Dubai, I'm getting Singapore. This, which means I wanted this country, I wanted that country. Again, why is the compatibility less here? Always keep in mind, whichever bhavas, 12th bhava is afflicted, the compatibility for that bhava will be less. Which means, if your Lagna's 12th bhava is afflicted, your compatibility with your wife will be less, right? Which means what? One will be tall, one will be short, one will be dark, one will be fair. There can be like starking contrast, right? Age difference will be more, right? Or what? The samudaya, the community, that will change, or love marriage, right? So let's say for the sun, if the 12th bhava is afflicted, then automatically, what? The compatibility between father and mother will be less. Or the father, for the father, the compatibility will be less. So wife's udyoha, she will have udyoha, but in the udyoha, she will have earnings also. But at the same time, what? Something to do with, Something to do with difficulties will be there in the udyoha, right? So this is already there. She will have problems associated with the stomach also, right? First udyoham won't last, right? So if you understand this logic a little bit, and if you just revise it once, just one revision is enough, you would be able to perform some beautiful, beautiful things with this. Now, let's move to Tritiya Tithi. For Tritiya Tithi, right, it is Makara Simha. Makara Simha. Now, what I will do is, I will cover the Tithis and the Shoonyas, Shoonya Rashis. Then we will get into a small break for dinner, 10 to 15 minutes, and then we would resume the session, right? So for Tritiya, right, Makara Simha. Tritiy. For Chaturthi Tithi, Rishabha Kumbha. For Panchami and Ashtami, Mithuna Kanya. For Shashti Tithi, Mesha Simha. For Saptami Tithi, Kadaka Dhanusha. For Saptami Tithi, Kadaka Dhanusha. Right. For Ashtami Tithi, I already told you, Mithuna Kanya. For Navami and Dashami Tithi, Simha Vrishchaka. For Ekadashi Tithi, Meena Dhanusha. For Dwadashi Tithi, Tulam Makara. For Trayodashi Tithi, Rishabha Simha. For Chaturdashi Tithi, Mithuna, Kanya, Dhanusha, Meena. So 4 Rashis for Chaturdashi Tithi. This is Tithi Shoonya. So can we take a small break before we resume the session? Small break for dinner?
Okay, sir.
Before we go for dinner, any break, any doubt, Ayya? Both of you? Ayya, Rahul, Ayya, do you have any doubt? Ayya, do you have any doubt? Is it clear, Ayya?
Sir, the concept is a little bit new for us.
Okay.
But there is some positive points which have Tithi Soonya. That will be not clear for me.
The positive
What
points
will
of
the first Tithi Shunya? Negative data is clear that if Tithi Shunya is present, then there is some problem. But positive points, I won't understand.
The positive points are whatever is the signifying bhavas for the Tithi Shunya, there would be development. Like, for example, when it comes to the knowledge associated with that bhava, with knowledge means you should also understand something to do with the money factor also. That will come after one setback. Remember, I told you the seventh bhava goes into a Tithi Shunya, right? So that means the first time he will do a partnership business, he will fail. After that, he will succeed. His entire life would be dedicated towards partnership. He will have a knowledge about partnership business. Let's say Simha gets into a Tithi Shunya, then automatically child, problems associated with the child, problems associated with the organs associated with son, after a middle age, that will be a problem. But let's say, if this person wants to get some knowledge about share market, all of this would automatically come to him. He will go through one major loss, but his mind will always be focused on what? The fifth bhava, share market, speculation. Remember, I told you Simha indicates gambling. Do you remember, Ayya? Do you get that, Ayya?
Yes, sir.
Is the concept clear to a certain extent?
Yes, sir.
Right? Which means the life associated, the jiva associated, that takes a hit. Right? The knowledge associated, which also indicates, something to do with the monetary factors associated, that takes a goodness. But how do you get knowledge in life? Only after you take one beating. So one beating will be there. After that, you will get back and do that. That is one point. Second is, whichever is the Tithi Shunya Rashi, you will somehow direct your energy towards that area only. Let's say the ninth bhava is getting into a Tithi Shunya, or Dhanusha is getting into a Tithi Shunya. What will happen is the relationship between you and your father's life, all of that will be a problem. But your mind will only be directed towards, what? Promotion, higher position, Vedas, Shastra, your religion, Dharma, all of that will automatically be there. In this department, there will be a small setback once, which means what? It will look like it is not coming to you. But after a lot of struggle, you will make sure that you get that. Do you get that logic now? Hey, is it clear? Sir. Is it clear,
yes,
Again,
that means materialistic things are good.
Knowledge and materialistic, it is good. After one setback.
That will be the plus point.
That is the plus point.
Thank you, sir.
But there will be one small setback. That setback has to be there. After that only it will be good. Right, Aya? And this we are doing without getting into the Lagna Bhava. Now, we will get into the Lagna, second Bhava. What if Lagna Bhava gets into a Tithi Shunya? That is there. That I will get into next class. As of now, once you get a horoscope, just using the Tithi as per the Kala Purusha, how can you predict? This is the logic here. Do you get that? Do you get it, Aya? Is it clear?
Yes. Yes, sir.
Now, you may also wonder, see, you told... materialistic side and something to do with the knowledge is good. Then how is it my younger brother is having problem? Because for you, it becomes the jiva. They are the jiva, right? So automatically they will have problems in this area, that area, all of that will be there. That is something that I added. Right? Do you get it? Clear, Ayya?
Clear.
Yes, Ayya. So can we take a small break? 10 to 15 minutes. We will finish dinner and we would resume. Right?
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, see, it is not about, all students who are going to listen also, see, it's not about randomly applying it. You are taking notes. You take one full week. Take everybody's horoscope. Don't look at Lagna. Don't look at Grahas. Don't look at anything. Just look at the Tithi Shunya and use the points. Which is what? Come here. Sit down. Your elder brother is like this. Your younger brother is like this. First, you confirm if they have an elder brother, younger brother. Then elder brother is like this. Younger brother is like this. Child is like this. Wife is like this. Father is like this. Try it out and tell me the result. This is what I'm telling you to do. Don't copy paste blindly. Whatever you're using, apply it and come back to me. Right? And there can be a little bit of confusion in the beginning. Get through that confusion. Tell me that this is the confusion and tell me, inform me. I will sort that out. Don't worry. Right? Little bit of confusion should be there in astrology, but get through that. So tomorrow itself, you should take some 5-6 horoscopes. 1 week, you keep taking horoscopes, just using Tithi predict and give me the result. Right? That's about it. So 15 minutes, just give a break here. We will continue. Are you ready? Are we ready to start, Rajesh Ayya? Rahul Ayya has done, but Rajesh.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now I'm again repeating what we discussed in the beginning. See, when we associate Tithi itself, we associate with the Pitrus. Now the question that you asked is it, don't immediately jump to the material side. See, I just want you to imagine this. Whenever we go through some deep difficulties in life and something is not working out in spite of our hard work, what do they say? Or if we go through a misery in life, what do they say? You don't know what his ancestors did because of which he is suffering. This is it. Which means there is a very subtle, or what we call as sukshama, behind the way as to how karma actually translates into reality. One of them is Tithi Soonya. When we see the horoscope is fine and clear, that's why I always make it a point, immediately don't jump to BADHAKA. Immediately don't jump to Tithi Soonya. Why is it not working? That time you should look at Tithi Soonya. The reason I'm telling you is, from the day I started learning astrology to even now, there are different schools of thoughts pertaining to Tithi Soonya. Many of them say you should not look at Tithi Soonya itself. At least as of today, 70% of astrologers, right, they have come to a basic consensus. Okay, we can look at Tithi Soonya if the 5th bhava is afflicted. What is this 5th bhava that they are trying to tell here? Which means if my Purva Punya is not strong, then automatically I will get problems associated with my ancestors. So automatically the jiva, or the life associated with whatever is involved in the Tithi Soonya Rashi, gets afflicted. Irrespective of whether your 5th bhava is strong or not. Why? Because as you keep analyzing horoscopes after horoscopes, you will have to find a proper validating reason. You need to find a reason, only then you can give a remedy. Why? Because today we are covering Tithi Soonya as per the Kalapurusha. Next class we are going to start with Lagna. Lagna Lord getting into the Tithi Soonya Rashi. 2nd bhava getting into the Tithi Soonya Rashi. So what should I do, sir? That is also a question. So for each of them, I'm also going to be supporting you with the right kind of remedies. The reason Tithi Soonya is important is only when you know what the problem is, then only you can actually address the problem. This is the point here. Again, the other thing that you need to understand is, see, maybe I am an astrologer. My father is not an astrologer. My grandfather is not an astrologer. But my great-grandfather would have been a temple priest. He would have been an astrologer. He would be in some big temple. Which means somewhere what is left will continue. But since it is left, you know what will happen? Let's say I don't know astrology. I'm starting to learn astrology today. Won't there be a struggle? Won't I make misses? Won't I make mistakes? Won't I go to wrong teachers? All this will happen. Because my search will be from where they left. Which means when it comes to the knowledge, please keep in mind, it is the knowledge. Because you are a good astrologer, customers will come to you. They will give you money. You don't have to ask for money. Money will come with knowledge. It is the knowledge. So the moment, the 9th bhava is getting into a Tithi Soonya, that search will be always for that. Whenever you find a person who says, what, I failed in this business. Right? I failed in the stock market. Here, where I failed, I will make sure I will rise up and I will do it. I will make money in the stock market. Tithi Soonya is involved. his father, great-grandfather, somebody would have been into stockbrokering. Whenever somebody says, I lost this property, I will make sure that in my life, I get this property in the same place. Again, Tithi Shoonya is involved. Right? This is the way you need to approach it. So once you revise it, you would be able to get a better understanding of it. Right? So let's move to Tritiya Tithi. Right? So please draw the sample Rashi Chakra. Right? So for Tritiya Tithi, what did we put as the Tithi Shoonya? We put Makara, Simha. Right? So for me, or for whoever is born during the Tritiya Tithi, for you, whoever it is, what becomes the Tithi Shoonya? 5th and 10th. Right? For Mithuna, what becomes the Tithi Shoonya? For Mithuna, what becomes the Tithi Shoonya Rashi? 3 and 8. Right? For Kadaka, that is the mother, what becomes the Tithi Shoonya Rashi? 2 and 7. For Simha, your child, what becomes the Tithi Shoonya Rashi? 1 and 6. Right? Which means for whoever Simha Rashi becomes the Tithi Shoonya Rashi, they will have problems pertaining to child. Guaranteed. Which means they will be one side, child will be one side, problems pertaining to the child, this will be there. Immediately it should strike Simha Rashi, Tithi Shoonya, immediately go about and predict. Tulam, spouse. For spouse, it becomes 4th and 11th. This will be the Tithi Shoonya. Right? Next, for the father. Two and 9, 2nd and 9. For Kumbha Rashi, 7th and 12th becomes the Tithi Shoonya. Now you should just understand the concept. I've given you the concept. You should learn automatically. It should come to you naturally. Slowly, as you revise, it will come to you. See, let's say Tritiya Tithi, uncle, elder sibling, they would be separated or they will be living away from their wife, or they will not be married. For the person, self, automatically what? 5 and 10. Promotion. Are you getting your promotion late? Right? Or is your higher official? Why? Because Simha, getting into a Tithi Shoonya. Simha, sun. Sun means your boss. Is there a problem between you and your boss? The answer will be yes. Did you go through a miscarriage? Did your wife go through a miscarriage? Or did you lose a child? Right? The answer would be a yes. Or was there a lot of medical expenses pertaining to the child? The answer would be yes. Right? Why? Because 5th and 10th. 5th child, 10th karmasthana. Right? Again, for the 5th, it becomes 6th. This is also you need to understand. Are you separated from your child? Right? Or is the child studying somewhere outside? Right? If this child is along with you, go and send the child somewhere else. Let it study somewhere else. Right? All of this is something that you should predict. The child will have head-related ailments. Right? Why? Because the 5th becomes Simha, becomes the Lagna itself. Tithi Shoonya falls there itself for the child. Right? Which means for each and everything you can go about and connect using Tithi Shoonya. Next, for the wife. 4, 11. 4th indicates property. There would be a problem pertaining to the property. Wife's health won't be good. Right? Next, if the wife has a elder sibling, not very, very good. Right? again, Kumbha Rashi. If you have an elder sibling, right, their married life, not very, very good. Which means using one Tithi itself, you can go about and make so many predictions. Right? Father, in the beginning it was good. Right? Why? Because 2, 9. Last stage, he had to suffer. He had to undergo a lot of suffering. Right? This is the way you should predict. Right? Next, Chaturthi Tithi. Let's get into Chaturthi Tithi. So for Chaturthi Tithi, it is Rishabha. Please put the into mark so that you are clear. Rishabha and Kumbha. Right. So here, most of the people, those who have Chaturthi Tithi, the husband and wife will be working in the same place. Right. And teaching, banking as a profession. Right. All of this will be in people or amongst people, those who have a Chaturthi Tithi. Why? Because 7th Bhava Lord in the 2nd Bhava itself. Nearby. Husband and wife are working together nearby. Or a profession associated with finance. Why? Because the 2nd Bhava is associated. Right? You can just keep it like this. 2, 11. Right? Which is like a good combination, right? At least for the self. Right? Mithuna. But again, you need to connect the dots here. 2nd, family, problems within the family, all of this. So you should connect it using the Bhava Karakatwas. Next is for Mithuna here. 9, 11. For mother, 8, 11. Right? Many people, those who have the Chaturthi Tithi, the mother's Mangalya, there will be a problem, which means what? Something to do with the married life of the mother itself, the longevity of the father problem. In many cases, mother's side, there would be 2nd marriages, right? 2nd marriage means mother's side, somebody would go as a 2nd wife, right? Simha, right? For Simha, it becomes 7, 10. So automatically, who will have marriage problem? Child, maternal uncle, wife's elder brother, elder sister, whoever it is, they would have problems pertaining to marriage. Tulam. For Tulam, 5, 8, which means what? Chaturthi Tithi, wife will have putra dosha. Anusha. 3, 6. Elder sibling. 1, 4. Right. See here, you need to keep this in mind. From now onwards only, you should ideally go about and apply one by one, rule after rule. Right. The support is given to you, but first you need to understand the Bhava Karakatwas. After you understand the Bhava Karakatwas, which I've already covered, right? Bhava Karakatwas means in the Graha Karakatva class itself, I've covered for all the Bhava Karakatwas. You just need to keep revising it again and again, and you will get it. But you need to apply it to as many multiple horoscopes as possible. What I would do is, I would conduct the Muhurta class on Sunday. 1 week you take, gather all horoscopes possible and just use Tithi Shoonya and see how much of it comes to accuracy. Like last evening, one of the students had shared the horoscope. So if you're listening, you can use that horoscope itself and use Tithi Shoonya to actually go about and come to a certain amount of conclusion. Right? Next. First, all of you draw. Finally, I will complete. Don't worry. Finally, I will explain a little more. Next. Draw the Rashi Chakra, put Panchami, Ashtami. You can put inside itself Panchami, Ashtami. Right? So for Panchami, Ashtami, automatically Tithi Shoonya becomes, right, put as Panchami, Ashtami. Right? As you keep revising Tithi Shoonya Rashis, automatically it will come to your mind, right? Few horoscopes. So for the self, those who are born in Panchami, Ashtami, 3, 6, which means starting a chit fund business, starting a business and giving something on EMIs, rental income, right? Doing some business where, or doing some job where, it is commission business, communication, police, military, food related business, restaurant. Mind will go towards that. Mind will be directed towards that, which means the knowledge or the wisdom associated with the third bhava and sixth bhava will be more. But the relationship associated with the third bhava and sixth bhava will be bad. Right? Again, loans, enemies, record problem, check bounce problem, all of this they will have to face, they will have to go through. Which means accounts, problems owing to wrong accounts, improper records, ENT problem, that is ear, nose, throat, owing to younger sibling, disappointment, disagreement, right? But rental income, food related business, all of this will be there. They will keep, see, third is change, sixth is also the udyoga. They will keep changing their jobs, or they will keep changing from one company to another company. Chemical, medicine, knowledge about these two departments can easily come to them. This is the base. Next, let's go to Mithuna. Right. We have, for Mithuna, what do we have? Sorry. 1, 4. 1, 4. 1 is Mithuna, the younger sibling himself, 4. Either the younger sibling is not there, or if the younger sibling is there, health associated with the younger sibling, not very, very good. Marriage of the younger sibling, not very, very good. Remember, I used the concept. Lagna is spoiled, opposite will also be spoiled. Again, you can also use another concept here. Sukhasthana, when it is spoiled. See, first, if you have to get married, the Sukhasthana should be strong. Sukha is health. Sukha is what? Getting married at the right time, having child at the right time. That is also Sukha. Right? So if Sukha is spoiled, how will you get married fast? Who? Younger sibling. Right? Kadaka, who's the mother. 3, 12. Which means, if the mother has a younger sibling, she would be separated from the younger sibling, or what would happen is, a sibling, the younger sibling here, because third is involved for the mother, 12th of loss is involved here. The younger sibling would have born and it would have died. Right? Which means what? It should have just been formed and it would have died, born and died, died early, died young age, or separation from the younger sibling. Which means, if the mother won't have a younger sibling, if there is a younger sibling, there is a possibility of an early demise. And if it continues also, there would be adripti or dissatisfaction associated with the relationship, or that person will be away from the mother. The third indicates abharana. The 12th indicates loss. So mother will lose abharana. So can you tell, there are ladies, especially in the southern part of India, especially in here, a lot of ladies, what they do? They have this chit fund business where, they would collect money from people. And over a period of time, after a certain maturity, they would give it to other people, right? With a certain amount of interest. So can the mother here do something to do with a chit fund business? That is what is called as a chit fund business, right? No, she cannot do a chit fund business. Can a mother give some money on finance to others? No, it won't come back, right? Will the mother lose ornaments? Yes. So this is like, LKG rules, kindergarten rules. 3rd, 12th, 4th bhava, Kadaga associated with 3rd and 12th as Tithi Soonya. Which means you ask anybody who has what? Panchami Tithi, Ashtami Tithi, has the mother lost ornaments? Has the mother pledged her ornaments somewhere and it did not come back? The answer would be a yes. Simha. Let's put Simha. 2, 11. 2, 11, which means what? Separated from the family. Who is separated from the family? Maternal uncle, child, right? Grandfather, right? Especially the paternal side grandfather, right? Or 2 marriages, right? Tula. 9, 12. Which means what? 9th means Bhagya. 12th means Tambadya. Which means again, the compatibility between the wife won't be good. With the wife won't be good, right? Again, in married life, Bhagya, see, Tulam is Kalatra. Kalatra's Bhagya is going to a loss. This is how you should interpret. Which means, after, married life, the Bhagya associated with what? Kalatra itself is less. Which means what? Either separation or continuous fights and argument. After marriage, after 9th year, there would be a poverty in the house. Right? 9th, then 12th. Next, the 9th indicates the uterus. Whose uterus? We are talking about the Garbhasthana for the wife here. The wife will have uterus related problem. Next, the wife will have friends who are from different religion. Why? Because just like the 5th bhava, the 9th bhava also indicates your mother. Right? Many a times there's also a possibility that you get married or wife actually follows a different custom or a different religion. Right? Wife's later life will be bitter. So now can you say that, what, Panchami, Ashtami, you should be a little careful, especially when it comes to matching horoscopes? Yes, you should be a little careful when you combine Panchami, Ashtami with a horoscope. Some check should be there, right? Don't avoid. Some check, but this is there, right? Dhanusha, father, 7, 10. 7 is Kalatra, right? So, father's married life, father's job. See, what I'm trying to do here is, everybody has some problem or the other. What problem? Just by looking at the Tithi that you're born in, one point for each person in the family. That's how it is, right? And all these are, key drivers to make, a complete prediction. See, whenever you are making predictions, there are different type of people. Some people, they are willing to listen. They are willing to actually go about and listen to whatever is there in the horoscope. And as you grow, you will definitely get those type of people. There are some people who want one-word answers. So one-word answer is also there. 1 hour answer is also there. What is it they want? You should decide. Now, you should use this technique to immediately go about and impress your client. So, a Tithi. With that Tithi itself, 1 or 2 points which you think is the main point, you should immediately hit. And it should strike the person. Right? Which means, father's Udyoham, and Udyoham means job. Right? Father's job, career, and married life not satisfactory. Married life, not satisfactory. Right? Next is, if the Kalatra, right? If the Kalatra has a younger sibling, then that younger sibling would have a delayed marriage, a love marriage, or there would be some problem associated with the marriage itself. Why? Dhanusha, your Kalatra's younger sibling. Right? Next. Midhuna Kanni, whenever Midhuna Rashi is afflicted. Yeah. Go ahead.
So why the younger brother profession have a problem in that case?
Yes, sir.
That may be possible.
Yes, also. That also is a problem.
Okay.
Right. Next. So, Kalatra's younger sibling. Kalatra's elder sibling, what will happen to the elder sibling? That elder sibling would be separated from her family. Why? Second bhava, Tithi Soonya. See, another rule. Whenever Mithuna and Kanya Rashi is afflicted, then automatically you should come to a conclusion. Married life is not very, very great. Afflicted means what? Mithuna Rashi Lord getting debilitated. Mithuna Rashi having two Ashubha Grahas, aspected by two Ashubha Grahas. Now you have an additional point, Tithi Soonya. Right. So when Mithuna Rashi is afflicted, why? What is the connection between Mithuna Rashi and your married life? You get married, that is Tula Rashi. Kalatra is Tula Rashi. The Bhagya associated with Kalatra is Mithuna Rashi. The Tambadya or the Ayana Sahina Boha associated with Kalatra, which means what? Are you able to be close with each other? That is the 12th from the 7th. So the moment Mithuna, especially Mithuna is afflicted, right? If Mithuna is afflicted, then automatically, if Mercury is afflicted, if Mercury is afflicted, Kani is also afflicted. Then the relationship that you share with your partner won't be great. You will be away from your partner. You will be somewhere. She will be away. That closeness that two people need to have, which means the bhagya owing to marriage, won't be very, very great. You will keep being away from the partner. Right? Which means when Mithuna Rashi is afflicted in a person's horoscope, husband, wife will have some separative tendency. He will be here, she will be here, both won't be able to be together. Okay. Next, Dhanusha 7-10. Right? Father's married life, father's job, not great. Right? Many people, father, they would be separated from their family at an early age. Right? Next is, automatically you should understand Mithuna Kanni. It automatically indicates the sukhas that one needs to have pertaining to marriage. Kumbha 5-8. 5-8. Immediately it should strike your mind. Elder sibling, Putra dosha. Child would have born and died. Own house. See, fourth bhava indicates house. The fifth bhava indicates constructed house. Right? Just in case people are joining who did not attend the Graha Karakatwa class in the Bhava Karakatwa. Graha Karakatwa, Bhava Karakatwa is one class. So, it's always good to keep revising that, right? So, own house, it will come late, right? Or they will construct an own house, but they won't be making use of that own house. They will be living somewhere else, right? They won't be using that own house, right? Next, that next stage in life, why 5-8? That will have difficulty. Which means, if Mithuna Rashi is afflicted, then my uncle, my elder brothers, next stage in life, whatever they desire in life, desire is Simha, desire is Kumbha, right? Both of them. Victory, Kumbha. Desire, that desire coming into a fruition. Fruition means what? It should come into a reality. That is Simha, right? Sun is all about creativity. Remember that. So, that next stage, whatever they desire, when Mithuna is afflicted in my horoscope, my elder brother, my um, uh, my uncle, my father's younger brother, younger sibling, right? My father's younger sibling also you can keep, right? That will have a little bit of difficulty, right? Which means in order to get into that next stage itself, they will cross 55 years, 60 years, right? Again, owing to Putra, there will be problems. There would be a mental affliction associated with what? Associated with the child itself. Right? Which means just by using a Tithi, we are telling everything. For you, it may be a new concept, but 1 week I will give you. Enjoy it. Bit by bit, you practice. And you will be surprised, how all of this is coming true. Right? Which means all that I'm telling you here, or all that I'm triggering you to do, is just to start thinking. And the moment you start thinking, once you're finished with this, once you're finished with at least 10 horoscopes within your family, friends, circle, everybody, then next week, Lagna getting into a Tithi Shoonyam. Second Bhava Tithi Shoonyam. Second Bhava Lord Tithi Shoonyam. What it means, right? Then automatically BADHAKA Adhipati. All of that would be done. That would be done in the next week itself, right? Which means this 1 week, you all get into one little bit of confusion. Confusion in the form of, how do I predict just using Tithi Soonya? Is it even possible? Try it. And I'm always there to clarify your doubts. This does not work, that is secondary. Rule is a rule. I'm sharing you the rule. I try it, right? Even if 70-80% comes, good enough. But it will come. That is one guarantee, warranty that I'm giving you. Try it, right? Next is Shashti Tithi. Next is Shashti Tithi. Just a minute. Just fill some water. You can write down Shashti Tithi, and in Shashti Tithi, you can mark Mesha and Simha. I'll just go back. Okay, Shashti Tithi. Now, before we go ahead, let me tell you, these are all Sukshamas. And when I say Sukshamas, you should handle Sukshamas carefully. The reason, I will give you one small example. See, when I studied astrology years ago, right? Rahulaya also had asked me this question. So, Tithi, you're teaching. So, you're teaching everything in the Panchanga as well, right? So, when we all started learning astrology itself, right? First, we would start with the Navagrahas, then we would get into Panchanga, then Tithi, right? All of this would be covered. What would happen is, we would study under a teacher. They would be good in maths, they would be good in calculation. So that calculation part of astrology would be good. But still, there would be some failures. When it comes to making real-time prediction, there will always be a failure. So what we used to do is, we used to go on batches. One teacher would be teaching in one place. So you used to go batches after batches. And there one person would teach Tithi Shoonya. During those times, it was not this refined. It was like Tithi Shoonya, say it is wrong. Then another teacher would say, if the fifth bhava is afflicted, then only look at Tithi Shoonya. So like this, after so much of confusion, then after gaining, applying, the refined version is given to you. So whenever you are applying it on a horoscope, don't tell bluntly. The reason I'm telling you this is, this first teacher who taught us, not Tithi Soonya, astrology. All of us learned Tithi Soonya. Every Sunday we used to have live classes, practical classes. So our Master G, he will always put his horoscope and explain. Right? And our Master G was going through a lot of sufferings in life, big sufferings in life. The only good news was, he had many of the grahas in Dhanusha Rashi. He also had a Shukra in Dhanusha Rashi. He had a Kumbha Lagna, I remember. So he was only waiting for this Shukra Mahadasha. After the Shukra Dasha comes, nobody would be able to beat me. I will be somewhere else. So there was one fellow, in our batch, see, all of us should know, but we should keep our mouth shut. Sir, but your Dhanusha Rashi is Tithi Shoonya. Your Shukra Dasha won't work out for you. You can imagine what happened to that teacher. What happened to the relationship that that student shared with that teacher, right? So there was so much of ruckus. So these are concepts which are just like that being taught to you now. But there should be a way to approach them. Don't tell this bluntly. The reason this is being taught is, see, there are so many things in our horoscope. When we look at it just like that, it looks like, yes, it should happen. Why it is not happening? That time you should understand, oh, Tithi Shoonya, right? Guru getting into a Tithi Shoonya Rashi. Oh, that's why there is no child. There is a delay in child. So this is a tool, right? Whenever you're thinking about tools, always keep it within yourself. While predicting, use it. But don't bluntly tell you won't get this, you won't get that, this won't happen, that won't happen because of this, right? So you should be very, very careful. Why? Because you will always get an opposing force from other side. One group of astrologers will say, how can you go and predict just using Tithi Soonya and tell you won't get this? But you should know, okay, that's the reason what I'm doing is, I'm giving you this class, first session. 1 week you take and apply with everybody who you know. If somebody is just crossing by the road tomorrow, come here. What is your date of birth? Tithi. Okay, this has happened. Is it correct or not? So 1 week when you practice, then you would come into this conclusion, using Kala Purusha itself, this much I'm able to predict using Tithi Shoonya. So why won't this be applicable as per my birth Lagna? That conclusion should come. See, the confidence should not come from me. The confidence should come from you because you are important here. You are learning. That is important, right? So let's go to Shashti Tithi, right? And you want to know what happened after that fight? So after that fight, see, this is the problem with Gurujis. What happened was, when all of them joined the class, there was no bench, there was no chair. So all the students had joined and they donated the chair and bench to the Guruji, to our Guruji. After the fight, each student, whoever they bought the chair, stool, they told that we are going to take this chair back from you. So he told, I will give you one shrap. So all these comedy stories, all these things, we have been through these experiences. So now you are getting access to a refined version of this astrology. So we should understand, so many things have happened. All this knowledge has come to us through so many adventures, so many things, and we should know how to use it sophisticatedly. We should know how to use it maturedly rather than, getting into problems and difficulties like this, right? Next is. And the other thing that you should always learn is, always you should be on an updation mode. See, can you blame our teacher there who taught us that time? He didn't update himself somewhere. So today what you are learning, you should not stick with that. Tomorrow I should learn something new. Tomorrow I should learn another thing new. Slowly and steadily. When you fail to update, that is where the problem starts. Right? Okay. Shashti Tithi. Put it as Simha. Sorry, Simha here. Mesha there. Right? So, for the self, 1, 5. Which means, where would his focus be? Where would his attention be? Where would his knowledge be? Administration, government, right? All of this, big planning, not small planning, big planning, all of that. Next is Mithuna Rashi, right? 3, 11. Next is Mummy Ji, 2, 10. Child, 1, 9. Right? Tulam, 7, 11. Dhanusha. You can please write So if you write now, please make sure you write the notes that you're taking is of absolute use. Don't miss out on the notes. So if you take notes now, next when you listen to the video, unlike the other students, for you it is just a revision. 2, 3, 4, 5 times. You can just put this video on 1.5, whatever that forward mode is concerned, and quickly revise, right? Dhanusha, 5, 9. Kumbha, 3, 7. Right? So this is where I mentioned, let's say somebody is born during the Shashti Tithi, share market, trading. There would be one big loss. There again, he will get up. He will rise. He will say that, you know what? Whatever money I have lost, I will make it up. Right? Which means they won't leave away from that. Right? Which means if Simha gets into a Tithi Shoonya, astrology, share market, right? Again, just because I'm telling share market, I know a lot of clients who are students immediately don't say, teacher told share market, again I will rise up. No, because always keep in mind, when I started astrology, predictive astrology per se, it was purely pertaining to stocks. But sometimes today, when you understand the stock market better, and deeper, sometimes you wonder, is it really regulated completely? So when the market is not completely regulated, then you should stay away from it, right? This is also some important thing. So please ask me before you invest, right? Students who are clients, right? Don't just get into Shashti Tithi, okay, tomorrow I will go and invest because I've already lost. No, don't do that. But I'm telling you, the tendency will be there, right? So that fifth bhava related work, astrology, share market, politics, medicine, all of that will be there, right? There will be victory, but what will happen is they will have to go through a lot of difficulty. Why? Because it is like something which has been left in the past. So after a lot of difficulty, then there would be jayam, then there would be victory, right? Which means you will find a lot of people who go through so much of hardships in order to come up and do something. You know, literally looking at them, you would tell, you know, this much hardship just for this category of people. Why? Because the fifth bhava indicates, you know, what you desire. The lagna is you yourself. So automatically both getting into the Tithi Shoonya itself, great difficulty, post that a victory, right? Next, if there is one afflicted, then the other would prosper. What do we mean by other would prosper? The fifth indicates your purviga, your ancestry. Right? So the moment you let go of your ancestry, ancestral wealth, automatically you will shine in life. Which means this is a common rule for those who are born during the Shashti Tithi. Right? Which means, as I told you, the moment somebody is in the zone where he says that, you know what, I've lost all of this. Whatever I've lost, I have to get it back. Then automatically there is Tithi Shoonya which is working here. Right? Next. So next we will go into Lagna Tithi Shoonya, second Bhava Tithi Shoonya and all of that. Along with that, remedies would also come. But first you need to understand this. Once you understand this concept, then only you would be able to go one by one, right? Which means whenever Simha Rashi is afflicted, right? Whenever you see Simha Rashi is afflicted, the maternal uncle and, not maternal uncle, the uncle and the elder siblings' married life won't be good. Let us understand this. Simple horoscope, I will tell you. Okay, I'm not going to put the lagna or anything. Okay. Just I'm going to put the Tithi Shoonya here. Right. put Saturn in Mithuna Rashi, put Sun in Makara Rashi. Right? Simple way to analyze the horoscope. Saturn from Mithuna Rashi is aspecting Simha Rashi. Correct? Saturn's third drishti would be in Simha Rashi. Let's put the Tithi as Shashti Tithi. So, Mesha, Simha, Tithi Shoonya. Right? You put the into sign, Mesha Rashi, Simha Rashi. Right? Immediately when you see this horoscope, what should come into your mind is, do you have a elder sibling? Right? Again, do you have a question pertaining to your elder sibling? If you ask, immediately they would say a yes. And the only question would be married life, separation pertaining to the married life. Why? Because here you need to understand Kumbha. Once you understand this concept, you can apply this concept in so many different ways. Kumbha becomes your elder sibling. The elder sibling's married life becomes Simha. Simha is already getting into a Tithi Shoonya. I'm sorry, here you put it as Sun, right? Right. Simha's seventh bhava is already getting into a problem because of Tithi Shoonya. Again, Shani is also aspecting, automatically a problem. The seventh bhava lord, Sun, which means what? Seventh from Kumbha. This is why I'm not even getting into Lagna. You don't have to. Whenever you're looking at the horoscope, first start with Kala Purusha. It will give you clear-cut answer. The confirmation process should be there with the Lagna, right? So, Simha, Rashi Lord, that is Kumbha's seventh bhava Lord, getting into the 12th from Kumbha, right? Because whenever you're predicting here, you're predicting for your elder brother. So, keep this as Lagna, right? So, predict keeping this here. So, from Kumbha, it is in the 12th. So, how will the married life be? Right? One word answer you can give. Is he unmarried or is he separated after marriage? These are the two ways as to how it will happen. Which also means, by the way, let's say for those who are born during the month of Pausha, right, or the month of Thai in Tamil, that is between mid-January to mid-February. If you have an elder sibling, why? Because Sun will be here in Makara Rashi. Or basically what I'm telling is, when Sun is in Makara Rashi, right, automatically, somewhere or the other, if you have an elder sibling, your elder sibling's married life will have some problem or the other. Whether it will be a major problem or not, confirm it with the bhava itself. But for everybody who has Sun in Makara Rashi born during the month of Pausha or Thai, if you have an elder sibling, naturally there would be difficulties pertaining to their married life, right? So let's say now he does not have an elder sibling. Let's say he has a younger sibling. Then you should do what? You should look at Mithuna, right? So in Mithuna Rashi, what is there? There is Shani, right? Again, third from Mithuna is Sun. Where is he getting? He is getting into the Ashtamasthana from Mithuna. So what will happen? One, the younger sibling will have some documentation problem, will have some problems associated with communication, or he will basically be a person who will lack some confidence because the Dhairya Sthana Adhipati is getting into the Ashtamasthana. Simple ways as to how you can predict. Very simple ways. You don't have to confuse so much, right? Which means, one, even if this is not in a Tithi Shoonya Gati, always look at, what are the Ashubha Grahas associated, right? Let's say, for example, here with Sun, let's say you have a Mercury. Let's say here you have a Mercury, right? So here, start numbering from Kumbha in order to make it easier for you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, right? So here, Kumbha, the seventh which is Simha Rashi's Lord Sun, is already getting into the 12th bhava along with the 8th. So, short, you can say there is a problem associated with the elder sibling. Why? Because the 7th bhava lord and the Ashtama bhava lord are connected. Just using Rashi. Right? Which means with so much of logic, right? Just using the Rashi Chakra alone, just using Tithi Soonya alone, right? All I'm trying to do is, I'm not trying to tell you that, you know what, this itself, you can go about and do everything. But I'm making you think. With this itself, you can do so much of things, right? Now you can draw another Rashi Chakra. So from now onwards, I would be just telling you the bhavas, right? In order to complete fast, you all should take the effort. You all should take the effort to try. Try at least a little bit. I'm always there to support you. But you should make that little attempt. Little bit you should scratch your head, right? Little bit you should try, right? And when you don't get it, immediately you ask me. I would be able to guide you, right? So try to apply it in as many horoscopes as possible, right? Then you will go to the next step automatically. Saptami Tithi. This is what I discussed in the first horoscope. Saptami Tithi. Right? So, Kadaka Rashi, Dhanusha Rashi. Right? Which means, if somebody is born during the Saptami Tithi, close your eyes and tell, there would be problems associated with the mother. Is there a problem for the father also? Yes, there is a problem for the father as well. But let's start with the Lagna first. Right? So, Saptami Tithi, self. Isha is the self. So, for self, what is it? It is 4th and 9th. Right. For Mithuna, what is it? 2 and 7. Right. Which means what? Family and Kalatra. For whom? Younger sibling. Kadaka. 1 and 6. 1 is the mother herself. 6th is her Arogya problem. Simha. 5 and 12. Again, you should be able to think now. Tulam. 3 and 10. Right? 3 and 10. Will the wife do some business on interest? Yes. Right. Dhanusha. 1 and 8. Not 4, 1 and 8. Kumbha. 6 and 11. Right. Next. Navami, Dashami. Navami, Dashami Tithi. You can write down for Navami Tithi and Dashami Tithi. Put the into sign for Simha, Vrishchaka. Simha and Vrishchaka. Right? Which means, naturally, Simha is getting into a Tithi Shoonya, which means 5 and 8. Sorry. 5 and 8 for the self. So, naturally, Putra Dosha. Mithuna. 3 and 6. So, all those who are born during the Navami Tithi, Dashami Tithi, please be careful about your relationship with your younger sibling. Easily both can get into an argument, right? But where would the interest be? 5th, 8th, which means trust. You know, you have these trusts, charitable trusts, religion, spirituality, astrology, politics. Life will go towards that, right? But there would be worries pertaining to the child. Putra dosha will be there. Who was born during Navami Tithi? Sri Ram. Wasn't he separated from his child? Who else was born during the Dashami Tithi? Dasharatha. Wasn't he also separated from the child? So logic here, right? So whoever is born during the Dashami Tithi and the Navami Tithi, Putra dosha is strong, will be strong in the horoscope. See,
I have a Dashami Tithi.
Right. So please keep in mind, you are going into the horoscope, fifth bhava, sun, this, that. Here itself, we are coming into a confirmation. Navami Tithi, Dashami Tithi, 5-8. Immediately, you should come into this type of a conclusion. Right? Putra dosha will be strong. Again, politics, government related thing, big publicity. No, big publicity, right? All of this is super for them, right? But ancestry, right? Father's side property, all of this, they won't be able to enjoy. Shastra, all of that is superb. Next is Kadaka. 2, 5. You should all link from now. If you have doubt, that time you message. But at least take 1 hour, at least you take every day for this. Right? Simha. 1, 4. Tulam. 2, 11. Right? 2, 11. Father. 9, 11. Kumbha. 7, 10. Which means, keep this in mind, when Vrishchika Rashi is afflicted, or if Vrishchika Rashi gets into a Tithi Shoonya, they won't be able to be with their father and mother. That's it, full stop. Which means they have to be separated at least with one of them. Right? Which means, ask anybody who's born during Dashami Tithi, Navami Tithi. I was separated from my father. I was separated from my mother. I lived away from my father. I lived in my mama's house. I lived in my Chittappa uncle, that is father's younger brother's house. Right? All of this will be there. Right? All of this will be there with Navami Tithi, Dashami Tithi. Next is Trayodashi Tithi. Next is Trayodashi Tithi. Right. So for self, let's start with self. For Trayodashi Tithi, put Rishabha, Simha. 2, 5. For Mithuna. See, I want you to do this as a homework. 2, 5. Immediately you connect your own points. You tell me whether it is correct or not. Immediately go back to Rashi Karakatwa class. Get into, sorry, not Rashi Karakatwa, Bhava Karakatwa class. 2, 5. 2, 5. What are the lives associated? What are the problems? You can go about and write. Mithuna. 3, 12. Kadaka. 2, 11. Simha. 1, 10. Right? Which means whenever there is something to do with, like for example, Tula, 8, 11. Whenever there is something to do with the Ashtama Bhava involved, that is where there should be good amount of care, good amount of attention. It should be there, right? Which means if Rishabha Rashi is afflicted, keep in mind, see here, if Rishabha Rashi is afflicted in the horoscope, it can be for male or it can be for a female, right? Which means Rishabha Rashi should not be associated with 2 Ashubha Grahas. If it is associated with two Ashubha Grahas, then it automatically means what? There is something to do with the Kalatra that you should be careful about. Why? Because from Tulam, which is the house which signifies the Kalatra, it is the Ashtamasthana. Right? So there should be some form of a care and attention. Easily, something to do with, what? Something to do with accidents. Ayul dosha. If the horoscope is weak, all of this can easily happen. Why? Because the 8th from the Kalatrasthana. Right? Next, Dhanusha. 6, 9. Kumbha. 4, 7. Right? Now is where everything is. If you ask these people how their lives are, see, some people, for 1 mark question, they will write 10-page answer. This is this category of people. Those who are born during Chaturdashi. So you can write down Chaturdashi. Mithuna, Kanya, Dhanusha, Meena. So the moment you see Chaturdashi in the horoscope itself, he will go from one problem to another problem in life. Right? Right. For the horoscope self. 3, 6, 9, 12. For Mithuna, 1, 4, 7, 10. Right? Which means here, Kendradipatya dosham as such. For whom? For the younger sibling. Kendradi will work in full swing for them. For whom? For those who are Chaturdashi Tithi, Mithuna, which indicates the younger sibling. Right? Which means if you just ask Chaturdashi Tithi to explain to us about their life, you will come up with amusing stories about their life. There would be so much of color, richness, ups and downs, which means, it is not even, right? Because they are the people who will be able to make huge amount of money, but nothing will be there in the hand. So there would be a bag of adventures itself in the way they explain their life, right? For the mother, it becomes 3, 6, 9, 12. For Simha, 2, 5, 8, 11. For Tula, for those who are born in Tula Rashi. Sorry, not those. For Tula Rashi. Right? That is the wife. I'm sorry. 3, 6, 9, 12. Next is Dhanusha Rashi. 1, 4, 7, 10. Kumbha. 2, 5, 8, 11. Which means this would keep repeating itself. See, immediately you have 2, 5, 8, 11 here. Right? 2, 5, 8, 11 here. 3, 6, 9, 12, 3, 6, 9, 12. Right? 1, 4, 7, 10, 1, 4. So lot of similarity will be there between what? Father, younger sibling. Lot of similarity will be there between what? Elder brother and child. So back to back, some problem will be happening as far as the family is concerned. Right? Which means now is where you will understand the importance of bhava karakatwas. See, now is where you need to apply the bhava karakatwas here. 2, 5, 8, 11, which means what? What is sun? What is the first bhava? What is moon? What is the second bhava? Once you understand this only, you would be able to go about and apply it, right? Because I can help you. I can help you with the logic. But for everything, at least little bit of effort you should take, right? With live horoscopes, automatically you would be able to get, right? Again, 100 times, 200 times, as you keep revising it, automatically all of this would automatically come into place, right? Which means there is no harm in just getting back to what? The Graha Karakatwas again and again, 10 times, 20 times, 100 times, how much ever times you study it also. That's the reason the access is there with all of you, right? I haven't locked this access after so many days. There's nothing like it. So you should be able to revise it as many times as possible, right? So when four important Rashis get into a Tithi Shoonya, then it automatically means what? Automatically creates problems, right? See, it just means one person will be there. He will have problems with the mother. Again, there would be problem associated with her health, his health, education. All of this one by one you have to combine. But here you need to understand one important thing here. See, self is moving towards 3, 6, 9, 12. So it is not normal here. He will make sure that he gets something out of his life, right? Which means anything to do with the third bhava, anything to do with the sixth bhava, ninth bhava, rental income, all of this would automatically come, right? The fourth bhava also indicates, the next I'm ideally referring to, also indicates something to do with property. So automatically something to do with property. All of this, automatically they would strive towards getting some form of a rental income, right? Which means when a person says, I took some money somewhere, I went in through a big loss. After that, in that same area, I took something, I bought this thing, and I'm able to get into a situation where I'm able to give this person money now and put this money on finance or give money on finance to this person, then automatically you should come into a conclusion, Tithi Shoonya is working. The moment he is talking about finances, automatically you should come into a conclusion, second bhava or the second bhavadhipati is getting into a Tithi Shoonya. Right? Let's say the fourth bhava is getting into a Tithi Shoonya, then his direction would be just focused around what? Fourth, vehicles, land, all of that is where the focus would be. That will give problem, and after that, it will go about and give him a knowledge, and owing to that, he will be able to go about and do something big, do something great. Right? The fourth bhava, Tithi Shoonya, won't be able to be with his mother. If he is with the mother, the relationship will sour, or the mother itself will have some very, very bitter moments with the child. Right? So, when it comes to the Karakatwas, which signify the life, the relationship, that is a problem. When it comes to something associated with knowledge, that is good. So just like, Rajesh had asked, sir, money will be good. That means no. Knowledge is good, money will automatically come, sir. That is the logic you should understand, right? Because if I just tell you directly money will come, then you will get into a very wrong way of understanding this subject. That is not the way it is. The knowledge associated with that will automatically come, right? So this is the most important thing here, right? Which also means, let's say, second bhava, Tithi Shoonya. So you lose money, and after that, what happens? You gain knowledge on how to make money, how to safeguard money. Then automatically this will happen, right? So let's say somebody has a Tithi Shoonya of the 9th bhava and the 12th bhava. So something to do with Shastra, knowledge pertaining to Shastra, that will be there. Sleep will be less. Problems pertaining to the father will be there. Problems pertaining to the father's property. Why? Because the 9th, 4th bhava becomes father's property, will be there. Leg problem will be there. Joint problem will be there. 3rd and 6th bhava. Just a minute. Let me just fill some water and come. Yes. So 3rd bhava associated. The knowledge associated with the 3rd bhava will be there. What is the 3rd bhava? Commission money. Money owing to what? Sweet commissions, communication, advertisement, all of this would naturally come, right? This would be there. It is like this, okay? Vadivelu, he's a famous comedian. In one of the movies, Vadivelu's father is a barber. He does not like his father's profession and he's going to the city in order to become a cinema star. I think cinema star or something, I don't know. So his father tells, one day you will be in deep trouble. That time you open this box, that will save you. Right? So he goes to the city, he tries this, he tries that, nothing works out for him. Then suddenly a bunch of, I don't know, rowdies or somebody, they chase him. When he's going to the dead end where he has nowhere to escape, then he remembers his father's advice. He opens that box. In that box, they have that shaving knife. So he takes that shaving knife. So when we are understanding the concept of Tithi Shoonya, it is just that, there is a certain amount of skill set which has already been there. And remember, it is not just Tithi Shoonya. Remember, I've also discussed this concept of Agami. Right? Somewhere, when you actually go about and these are sukshamas. This is, especially when it comes to Agamis, everything is perfect. I don't know what is the problem in my life. I have so many people who ask this question. We have money, we have everything, but something is missing in our life. Immediately see which is the Agami Graha. Agami, some Graha which has been propitiated by the ancestors, it has been left for a while. Immediately when you start propitiating them, it will create trouble. Then after a certain time, once you do a Graha Shanti, then automatically it would give you blessings. So the right word to use is the wisdom, the knowledge associated with the bhavas, which get into a Tithi Shoonya, that is amplified. But it comes with a break. Why it comes with a break? See, boss, your ancestors did it. Somebody did it. That is the reason you have Tithis, right? Which means some of the gunas that is left over, that is there, which is creating a havoc. Again, every person had some skill set, some knowledge, something which is unfulfilled. Not unfulfilled, left over as a experience. That is also coming. So, immediately when you take it up as, an act, there's a good possibility for a failure. But then you will be stuck up to it because that is your instinct. I have to do it. Something will make you come towards it. That is Tithi Shoonya. Right? This is the only logic that you need to understand. Right? So, if you go to a person who has 3rd, 12th, which is getting into a Tithi Shoonya, record, writing, something to do with handwriting, all of this there will be some problems associated with that. He will sign somewhere, he will get into a problem. But when it comes to, again, after that, after a certain stage, earning commission money, earning in some form where, you give EMI, 6th, automatically, if the 6th is also involved, let's say 3/6, right? 3/6 is involved, then automatically food, agriculture. Why we are connecting agriculture with food? Those who have been through the Bhava Karakatwas will understand. Food means where food comes from, agriculture. Right? All this interest will be there. Interest money owing to, not interest money, rental money, right? Money owing to rental income, right? But here the 6th also indicates your laborers, your employees. So there would be problems associated with your laborers. What type of problem? You will give salary to some person, but you will be doing work of that person itself, which means problems associated with the labor. This is the way you should take. Means just get back to the classes and you would easily understand it. 9/12. Let's say 9/12 Tithi Shoonya, right? Just giving you a hint on how to approach each of them. 9 father, 12th medical expenses for the father, separation from the father, won't be able to enjoy father's property, right? He will want to go to a foreign land, but wherever he wants to go, there would be problem. Or he will go to one foreign land and come back, owing to travel. Right? But where would his thought be? His thought will only be in that direction. Somewhere I should go to a foreign land. Somewhere I should get a PR in that foreign land. Right? But what it does, as far as the father-son relationship is bad. The relationship with the boss, higher official, not good. Right? Higher official won't agree with him on most of the things. Right? Again, big development will happen, right? Then after that, what will happen is suddenly it will almost come nearby and it will go. Right? Big friendship, but no use of that friendship. Right? The fourth bhava, Tithi Shoonya, then what happens? You should be again careful. Right? Let's say the fourth bhava is getting into the Tithi Soonya Rashi, then automatically the sukhas would automatically be afflicted. Right? Let's say somebody is born during Dashami Tithi or Navami Tithi and they say that, you know what, not separated from the parents. Then father and mother will be going on fighting in the house because 99% of the cases, Dashami Tithi, Navami Tithi, they would be away from the parents, living away from the parents. Again, the other doubt could be, sir, I'm born during waxing cycle. I'm born during Shukla Paksha. So Shukla Paksha is different, Krishna Paksha. No, Shukla Paksha, Krishna Paksha, both of them. Tithi Shoonya is Tithi Shoonya. Which means what? I think for the beginners class in astrology that I did long time back for all clients, if you want, I will share to you. What is Tithi? How do you actually go about and understand the concept of Tithi? If anybody wants it, you can just go to YouTube and type in Oracle under a fig tree. There is the separate channel where I had a beginners class for all students. So you can actually go about and listen to it. I think Rahul, I think I've shared it with him. So maybe, right, you can see if you want to. But this is the concept. Now we are getting into applied astrology. So applied astrology, as I told you my story with teachers, some teachers, they will teach us concepts well. But when it comes to application, you cannot blame them because they didn't update. They didn't have the resources to update. So somewhere, this is the problem. Sometimes, you know what, even after finishing MA, I couldn't actually go about and predict very well. Why? Why predict very well? I should be very, very open. It was difficult for me to predict itself. Why? Because it was complete conceptual knowledge. When it comes to application also, only when you go from one place to another place, learn from different sources, get into confusion, leave astrology, throw astrology, after that, suddenly something would happen and that is where you start. My aspiration here is you should not go through that process. Step by step in a uniformed process, you should be able to go about and predict and you should be able to make a living out of it. That is the most important thing here, right? Which means the separation or the distance from sun to moon, that is the basic logic behind what? Tithi Shoonya, right? Again, for Rishabha, from Tulam, Rishabha, Ashtamasthanam. So when Shani Ketu is involved, right? Then whoever the Kalatra is, there can be problems in the form of what? Accidents, litigation, oil problems, surgery. So let's say you see two horoscopes where Rishabha Rashi is afflicted. You know what would happen? Both of them will travel together and they will get into, you know what? Some accident. So these are quick, easy ways to predict, right? Again, you should always keep in mind when you're combining two horoscopes. I'm just adding a few points because all students here, you're also a part of the marriage matching horoscope. When two horoscopes have their Rishabha Rashi, which is not very, very strong, you should be careful. You should forewarn them, especially when they are traveling, vehicles, all of that, right? So today what we have done is we have covered the Kala Purusha. This concept should be assimilated properly. Only if you understood this concept well, then Lagna getting into Tithi Shoonya, Lagna Lord getting into a Tithi Shoonya is of use. Otherwise, no. Then next week itself, I would cover the concept of Badhakadipati. Then after that, I would teach you how to apply also slowly and steadily. Right? Example, let's say Lagna Lord is in the 5th. So government, politics, all of this will be there. But now what will happen here is, when you say Lagna Lord is in the 5th, automatically you will start predicting all the good points. You will be in politics, you will get government job. 4 people would say okay, 4 people would say no. So here, Tithi Shoonya is very, very, very important in order to go about and analyze why it is not coming. This is the most important thing as far as Tithi Shoonya is concerned, which means, see, there should be some scope of confirming something. See, I told you, you will get the knowledge, but there is some difficulty there with Tithi Shoonya. So, somewhere or the other, how do I confirm that this is what I need to predict? See, whenever you are predicting, especially in the initial stages, there would be a lot of confusion. But you know what will happen if you learn astrology wrongly? You know what will happen? Beyond a certain stage, you will think that, you know what? Anyway, I'm not getting the logic. So I will just go and tell whatever comes from my mouth. That is also risky, right? So somewhere you should at least have your, you should rely on one logic that, okay, this logic is coming properly because of which I'm going to predict this. So only when you get that logic correct, that confirmation will be there and that self-confidence will be there for you to predict. And this is where such concepts play a pivotal role, right? Which means, let's say somebody comes to you, right? And says, he's giving his horoscope. He won't ask for him. What he will do is, tell me something about my uncle, which is father's younger brother. People would test you like this, right? Or people would give you the horoscope. They will ask for the entire family. That is what used to happen. It still happens in the villages of South India, right? One horoscope, they will come. They won't leave the astrologer for 2 hours. At least these days it is okay. Those days it was 100 rupees is big, right? Those days. But you should be able to answer all that question, because once you answer that question, they will bring their entire family to you. So what will you do now? Immediately from Kumbha Rashi, what do you need to see? You need to see the 5th bhava. You need to see the 8th bhava. First you see Kumbha Rashi. That will give you an answer. Let's say from Kumbha Rashi, the 5th, that is what? Mithuna and Kanya, which is the houses of Mercury, is spoiled, right? Let's say in Kanya Rashi, there is a Shani MAANDI. Then immediately you should ask this question, is your uncle there? Or did he go through some severe accident or something like that? That is the way you should predict. And my respected students, only Kala Purusha will give you that idea. Right, this is confirmed. Let me predict. Otherwise, Lagnas, 11th bhava, this, that. No. First, when you start from Kala Purusha itself, Kumbha Rashi, okay. Uncle. Tula Rashi, okay, wife. Right? Wife's younger sister, Dhanusha. Wife's elder sister, Simha. Like this, if you keep predicting, how will my mother-in-law be? Makara Rashi. How will my father-in-law be? Mithuna Rashi. Will I get something from my father-in-law? Does he have do that also? Mithuna Rashi is strong, then automatically means what? Your father-in-law, does he have property? All these stunts you can do only with Kala Purusha. Once you understand that, then you go to your horoscope. Then you would get, yeah, it's confirmed. Tick mark, tick mark, tick mark. That is the way you should approach the horoscope, right? Which means first, finish as per the Kala Purusha. So in this case, immediately when the Kanya Rashi is afflicted, or let's say Mithuna Rashi there is, so automatically you can say, uncle, does he have Putra Dosha? Did he lose a child? How's the child? Is he doing well? Immediately you would get the clue. After that, get into the horoscope and check as per the Lagna, right? So this is how it is. As far as Chaturdashi is concerned, don't be fooled into thinking that these people will have lots of miseries. No. The thing here is, short and sweet answer is, they will get money left, right, center. But along with that money, they will also incur so many problems. Right? Tritiya Tithi, what will happen is Simha. The moment Simha gets into a Tithi Shoonya itself, something to do with karma, the 10th, automatically it indicates, let's say somebody has the 10th, automatically it won't allow you to go for performing the last rites of the person. So that is where you need to apply the concept of bhava. That I will teach you. This is out of topic, right? Which means The idea of Tithi Shoonya here is very, very simple. You lose something in order to get something. You lose a relationship in order to gain a knowledge. This is the core concept of Tithi Shoonya, right? And this can be very, very useful, especially when it comes to what people commonly call as blind chart analysis. See, they say blind chart analysis. I don't know how you do that, but using Tithis, you can do a beautiful blind chart analysis. My horoscope, tell me about myself. Or just using the Tithi, tell me about my entire family. Yes, you can go about and do, right? Which means study, revise. All of this will be covered step by step as far as the Lagna is concerned. But this week, what I would suggest you to do is bring everybody's horoscope and test it. You would be wonderstruck. You would be amused. You know, how different ways we can use in order to go about and predict. And you would enjoy prediction, right? So that is the way you should ideally go, right? Which means somebody's fourth bhava would be strong. Fourth bhava lord would be strong. Fourth bhava would be well placed. If you ask him, you know, do you have house? Do you have property? Do you have vehicle? He would say that nothing is there. So where do we find that logic? Now, immediately what we would do, this is not working. So you know what? I will learn Nadi astrology. I will go to KPS. I'm not saying it's wrong. There's nothing wrong in that. But first you finish this, because everything is hidden here. It is just that your angle or approach of looking has to change. That's all. Very simple. You will be able to get answers. After that, always you need to keep this in mind. There are so many tools. The others are just tools which should aid you for prediction. And any which ways, there are softwares after softwares. And definitely, I would actually go about and let you know what is there. But there's nothing as sweet. There is nothing as profound. There is nothing as interesting, intriguing, mysterious, and enjoyable as Parampariya Jyotisha. But just little bit of time and effort is required. That's it. And even if you make mistakes, daily 10-15 mistakes also not a problem. Don't be afraid to make mistakes, right? So this is one part, right? Now the other question here is, could be, see, you're telling Kala Purusha, then you're telling Lagna. So how do we do? See, there has to be a combination of both of them, right? Which means, let's say, Simha Rashi. Naturally, it is the fifth bhava, right? But let's say you are born with a Mithuna Lagna, right? So let's say Lagna Lord is in Simha Rashi. Mithuna Lagna. Lagna Lord is in Simha Rashi. So automatically you need to get into mingling both of them. Which means what? How do you mingle both of them? Lagna, you. Mithuna, third bhava of the Kala Purusha. Lagna Lord in Simha, which indicates Purviga. He will leave his Purviga. He will leave his ancestry. The fifth bhava indicates your name, indicates your nakshatra. He will have two names. The fifth bhava indicates your Purviga in the form of a grandfather. Mithuna, third bhava of the Kala Purusha, getting into the Lagna Lord, getting into the fifth. His grandfather would have changed and moved from one place to another place. So this is the way you mingle. Of course, this mingling part also would be sorted out, just like, you know, how we covered the Lagna Lord, second bhava, third bhava, that will be sorted. But you should get the idea behind it so that you also are able to ideate your own rules, right? Which means Kala Purusha Tattva, or the rules of Kala Purusha, not rules, the Kala Purusha Kundali and the Lagna Kundali has to mingle, right? Again, Mithuna, which automatically means what? Knitting, software, anything to do with, you know what? Skills, learning a skill, all of that will be good in this person, right? Why? Because third bhava, Mithuna, immediately it should come to your mind. Lagna Lord becomes the third bhava of the Kala Purusha. Third itself means hands. Third itself means doing something to do with the hands, which means software. All of that will come, right? So my suggestion is, all of you sit down in your house, get into some confusion for some time. You know, little bit of confusion should come to you, right? You see this, you see that, right? You confuse yourself, you confuse your family members also this week, right? Call one person and keep predicting without putting grahas. Don't put grahas, right? Don't put lagna. Just using Tithi, put the into mark and start predicting for everybody. See, okay, this came, this didn't come. Please update, right? And next week we would follow it up. So with this, we have come to the end of today's session. So hope all of you are able to make use of it. Do you have any questions? Anybody, any questions?
Excuse me, sir. Can
Yes,
you tell remedies of Bandh Tithi?
I would be telling you next week. I would be covering that.
Okay, okay, sir. Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank
today
you.
is Kala Purusha. Next
Okay,
week
sir.
we are going to get into Lagna Lord. Then only I can give you the remedies, right? Lagna
Thank
Lord
you,
getting into second Bhava Lord, Tithi Shoonya getting into what is the remedy? That I would be covering. Right?
Okay, okay. Thanks. Thank you, sir.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Any question, Aya? How was the session, Aya? Did you enjoy it? Were you able to make use of it?
Awesome, awesome, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So please use it, Aya. Right?
Sure,
Aya,
sir.
Aya, Rajesh, Aya, any doubt, Aya?
No, sir. Everything is fine.
Right. So please, now you shared a few horoscopes, right, Aya? Now you do one thing. Remember you were sharing horoscopes for 2-3 days? Now you do one thing. Get back to all those horoscopes. Just put the Tithi and see. Oh, this is the problem. This is the try it. Right? Okay, yeah. All right.
I will share new horoscope.
Oh, okay. First of all, thank you all for your time. Please try to make the best use of the sessions being offered to you, the time, the effort, everything is given so that you all become professionally sound, good, ethical, honest, and most importantly, prosperous astrologers. So I want all astrologers to learn, grow, and help yourself and help others. So thank you all for your time. Thank you all, those who are going to be listening to this also, and make the best use of it.
A lot of thanks, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. It's okay.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Namaskar. Thank you.